Marvel. The devastation of natural disasters begins. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 51 The Black Queen's Clue. After temporarily dealing with EPA's affairs, some people tried their best to ask Tang Feng for help, like cats smelling a fishy smell. There are business issues, the danger of the enemy endangering their own lives, and there are some less important things, messy things, all come to worry Tang Feng. In this regard, Tang Feng flatly refused, without saying much and a few polite words, announcing the dissolution of the assembly. Just kidding, he is the White King, their leader, not a salaryman, so he has a lot of free time to help one by one. If it isn't this situation with EPA, there is really nothing that can be done, and it is not automatically causing trouble. If you ask Tang Feng for help, you can still consider helping. If this is not the case, there is no room for negotiation. These people really think, what do they think of me? A murderer? A salaryman? God, especially that Justin Hammer. He was so embarrassed to ask me to help him kill Tony Stark. What a good idea. His IQ must be about the same as a retard. Why don't you ask me to kill the president? He's going to be president. As soon as he returned to the beautiful villa where he settled in the headquarters, Tang Feng was very angry and said with a sneer, "A person like this, no matter what it is, you don't need to pay attention to it. You can put it aside if you have nothing to do, and you can borrow his network resources if you have something." Not only did Linger return with Tang Feng, but the Black Queen and White Queen, who didn't know what they were thinking, followed behind. But Flicker was susceptible and left. It was not the place where he lived. Is this still possible? Will it prove that I am too ruthless? Tang Feng looked helpless. Heo was lying on the sofa on the side, looking at him, as if looking at some kind of baby. The White Queen's eyes never left him, and she stayed close to him, occasionally tempting him with style, which was too reserved. The two women had no intention of hiding them. They just put it so clearly. The old lady simply admires and likes you. Young man, you should obey. Holding back his strange emotions, Tang Feng touched his nose and said in surprise, "You think too much. Our Hellfire Club is not a strictly regulated organization. We have never said that we have to help, and we have no necessary obligations. We are willing to help, just by virtue of being members. We can help if we want, that's all. You can think of our club as a platform for networking resources. We have helped them by allowing them to join the club. In the club, they can meet many members, as long as they are not stupid, develop personal connections, and become familiar with other members. We can help each other and the business will naturally grow bigger and bigger. Hellfire Club is just that. On the contrary, as masters, we have the convenience and can borrow their network resources without any obligations. If anyone dares to refuse to use the network resources, we have the right to let him leave the club. I believe that after joining the club, no one can make up his mind to leave this platform with huge network resources. However, it is not absolute. I still remember that Howard Stark was able to make up his mind to quit. His brain is really smart, but unfortunately he was assassinated. If he hadn't left the Hellfire Club, we would have been willing to help him get out of Hydra's assassination. The Black Queen recalled and said with a look of regret, "Howard Stark? He also joined the Hellfire Club?" Tang Feng widened his eyes and was shocked. It was really a big news that exploded on the ground. Yes, it's a pity that he doesn't like our mutant to be the master. He wants to turn around and become the master, but he can't do it. He is arrogant and chooses to quit. The White Queen explained the reason. In fact, his age is not in his 30s on the surface. It is only because of the diamond transformation ability that can delay the aging of her body. So she still looks beautiful and young. In fact, she not only met Howard Stark, but also as the White Queen, borrowed his network resources and escaped the arrest of the military. It's incredible that Howard Stark also joined. By the way, the Hydra you mentioned just now, do you also know that Hydra has not yet become extinct? After Tang Feng sighed, his heart moved and asked, "I definitely know. Although everyone believes that Hydra has perished, and even the one-eyed dragon believes it, but Hydra, which is still hiding in the dark, cannot hide it from us." The Black Queen held her cheek in one hand, with a lazy expression, like a lady, and said, "That's right. We mutants have all kinds of abilities. If we really want to know something, no matter how hidden it is, there is a way to know it," the White Queen said with a look of superiority. Tang Feng nodded. There is nothing wrong with what he said. Just like the Black Queen, the White Queen's spiritual ability, whether it is ordinary people or most mutants, can't hide any secrets in front of them. Plus spiritual abilities, such as Mystique's kaleidoscopic shape-shifting, Shadowcat's penetrating objects, and various strange abilities, they are all masters in gathering intelligence. The intelligence resources of the Hellfire Club are really powerful. The one-eyed dragon I just mentioned should be Nick Fury. Another bald egg. Tang Feng thought of Charles's bald head, with a strange look on his face, the stalk of the braised egg in his previous life, which he can't forget to this day. Yawn. "I'm a little sleepy. I'm too lazy to get up. Or, my White King, can you take me to the room and sleep?" The Black Queen yawned and looked at Tang Feng with fiery eyes, as if she was pointing. Tang Feng's heart skipped a beat and he gulped. What does this mean? Is he thinking crookedly? Chapter 52 The Secret of the Two Women. As an honest gentleman, Tang Feng is not a scumbag. No matter how tempting he is and how clear his insinuations are, in front of Linger, he will ask the two women to leave. After sending the two girls away, Tang Feng shuddered as he recalled the resentment in the eyes of the two girls before they left. Please don't look like a deep niece. The age of the two girls, even the youngest White Queen, is the generation of his grandparents, not to mention the age of the Black Queen. The two women are old hags. Although it is not visible from the outside, they are actually two goblins who eat people and do not spit out bones. Fortunately, I have enough determination. Tang Feng drank a few glasses of water again, and his dry mouth eased. He felt pity and regret. In fact, he is a layman. No matter how old he is, as long as he looks beautiful and beautiful, the realm of Red Skull Rose, it is impossible for him. Big brother, are you thirsty? Linger grabbed Tang Feng's hand tightly, sat beside him, and asked strangely, "Well, I'm a little thirsty." Tang Feng agreed, poured another glass of water, and drank it. "Big brother, why don't you leave your two sisters downstairs and sleep with Big brother with Linger?" Linger suddenly said earth-shaking words, causing Tang Feng to snort and spit out all the water he had drank in his mouth, coughing again and again. "Big brother, are you okay?" Linger patted Tang Feng on the back with a small hand and asked with concern. "No, it's okay, Linger. Tell Big brother, why do you say that?" Tang Feng waved his hands in disbelief and asked strangely, "Because Big brother." And Linger looked at Linger with the same eyes before going to bed. "Big brother is looking at the two sisters equally, so you don't want to sleep with the sisters?" Linger looked innocent, blinked her bright eyes, and said bluntly, "Crow, crow!" It seems that there is a crow flying over Tang Feng's head. Her face is confused and embarrassed. Her eyes are so obvious. The same look in my mind." This sentence echoed. Cough, cough, cough. "Linger, Big brother tells you that there are some things that you actually can't do even if you think about it in your heart. You must be moderate in everything and cannot act recklessly. You must have rules and patience. Do you understand?" Tang Feng organized his heart and explained carefully. Seeing Linger's blank face, he couldn't help but confirm and ask. Linger just shook her head and bit her finger lightly. Tang Feng shrugged reluctantly. She was really crazy. She knew that Linger had amnesia and didn't understand the world, so she said this to her. "It's okay if you don't understand. Sooner or later you will understand. It's okay. It's getting late. We should rest." Tang Feng picked up Linger with a serious face and said, "Big brother, it seems that the sun hasn't set yet." Linger opened her eyes wide and saw the sun that had turned red, and there was still the horizon. Tang Feng didn't explain that in a way. The sun had already set in her heart, and the nightlife had arrived. At noon the next day, Tang Feng supported his waist and got up with Linger. "Why are you here? Don't say a word." As soon as he walked down the wraparound stairs, Tang Feng saw with an embarrassed look that the Black Queen, the White Queen, and Twinkle were sitting on the sofa, chatting. Hee. We knocked on the door, but you can't hear it. You are in good health. The White Queen covered her mouth and smiled, looking at Tang Feng with fiery eyes, saying something and praising. Tang Feng's face flushed red and he was thin-skinned. When he thought that someone was listening to him in the corner, it was embarrassing even if it was 3 women. If it weren't for being provoked by the 2 girls yesterday, he wouldn't be as reckless as Linger. Cough cough. Yes, I said yesterday, I'm going to meet Magneto Eric today, so I'll leave when I'm full. Blink has the ability to teleport, which is convenient and fast. Just let Blink take me there. Tang Feng coughed a few times, told Linger to prepare the food, and looked at Flickering Road. I brought Blink just thinking that I would take you to see Magneto. The Black Queen nodded with a smile and said, I came here early in the morning. Twinkle looked at Tang Feng, looking bloated. Before coming, he was eager to work with Tang Feng, but he heard a strange sound all morning. Ha, isn't that right? I'm really sorry to keep you waiting. Tang Feng laughed dryly and slipped away on the grounds of brushing his teeth and washing his face. In fact, he had already brushed his teeth and washed his face. The Black Queen and the White Queen also didn't reveal it. They smiled and watched the very exciting blockbuster through telepathy. Uncomfortably endured, the 2 women hurriedly left after saying a few words to pay attention to safety. After so many years of getting along, the relationship between the 2 women is extremely familiar, closer than a best friend, and has transcended a certain boundary, which is called homosexuality. There is no way. They have experienced a lot, seen all kinds of men, and ordinary men don't care about them and are not interested. On the days when there are no men, it is the 2 women who help each other solve the problem. Therefore, it is very rare that Tang Feng can arouse their interest. Tang Feng didn't have telepathy, he just sent the 2 girls away strangely, with a flash of understanding in his heart, and secretly rolled his eyes. They are all like this, that's enough. What's wrong with her being single? What if you don't have a boyfriend? Is this the reason for showing affection in front of her? The flashing face looked annoyed. Tang Feng and Linger, they are sweet and affectionate, and I feed them. Chapter 53 The Past Flashing. After the meal, Tang Feng didn't waste any more time and set off with Linger and Blink according to the address Magneto Eric sent to his mobile phone. Magneto's whereabouts are never hidden, and as long as someone wants to find out, it is easy to find out. The brotherhood he established was based on a small island with tens of thousands of mutants living on it. Everyone knows it. It is not a secret. But it was because of Magneto Eric's deterrent power that everyone turned a blind eye. Before Magneto Eric fell, no one dared to go to the island, arrest Mutant, and destroy the Brotherhood. Magneto Eric and Charles, who I have always supported Mutant, used force to shock the world. And now, there is one more person, Tang Feng. Here, this is the base of the Brotherhood, a small island that completely belongs to Mutant. A spatial passage appeared on the edge of a small island, and the twinkling led Tang Feng, Linger, outside, and said in admiration. His face and nostalgia seemed like a memory, looking at the surrounding scenery. Have you been here? Tang Feng noticed the blinking gaze and guessed. Yes, I grew up here when I was a child and joined the Brotherhood because of my adoptive father. Twinkle nodded, nostalgic. Your adoptive father? Can you tell me what happened? Tang Feng asked with a look of interest. He stood there and did not walk. He believed that since he appeared on the island, he would definitely let Magneto Eric know, and would just wait for someone to pick him up here. Maybe. Flicker looked at Tang Feng, nodded slightly, without hesitation. Nor was it a secret. He generously told him his past events. Blink's adoptive father is Sabretooth. As for his biological parents, they are ordinary people. Since his mutant awakening ability, the relationship has gradually become estranged. Hearing this, Tang Feng was too shocked. He did not expect Sabretooth to be Blink's adoptive father. It was unimaginable. At the same time, the silent and flickering encounters also foreshadowed their future encounters. It is still the uncle's ordinary people family, and it is estimated that the relationship will not be as close as before. This is a relationship between relatives, and it is estimated that there will be alienation. This is the problem of getting along between mutant and ordinary people, because ordinary people are afraid, jealous, and uneasy about Mutant. Sabretooth is Blink's adoptive father, and because he is a member of the Brotherhood and an important cadre, Blink also joins the Brotherhood. However, Twinkle is kind-hearted and hard-hearted. Like the members of the Brotherhood, she persecutes ordinary people. She cannot accept the Brotherhood's idea of using any means to achieve ends. In addition, Sabretooth was ambushed by the military during an operation and his brain was severely traumatized. Even if he was rescued, he would have amnesia and would no longer recognize Flicker. Blink was hit hard and took the opportunity to leave the Brotherhood, thinking of flickering. During her stay in the Brotherhood, whether forced or not, she hurt many ordinary people. Moreover, because of her teleportation ability, she participated in many actions, and she also knew that many ordinary people were persecuting mutants. In this way, she cannot accept the idea of the X-Men, let down her guard, and live in peace with ordinary people. In this way, the Brotherhood and the X-Men are not suitable for her. After wandering outside for a while, using the teleportation ability, every time she is in danger, she is always close to danger. In the end, she was abducted by the White Queen and joined the Hellfire Club. Tang Feng couldn't help but sigh after hearing Flashing's past. He couldn't think of the twists and turns of Flashing's life experience. To be honest, I really don't agree with the Hellfire Club's philosophy, but there is nowhere to go for now. Twinkle smiled helplessly, facing Tang Feng. Maybe it was a good impression, or maybe it was personal worship, admiration, and talking about the past. I can't help but swallow my heart. Ha ha ha, don't think so much. Whether it's a bad guy, Brotherhood, a good guy, X-Men, or selfishness, Hellfire Club, just take care of yourself first and be happy. You're not a big shot, and you can't even care about race. Tang Feng was stunned for a moment, and habitually touched the blinking little head with his hands, and then reacted after finishing, and smiled embarrassedly. A smile appeared at the corner of his mouth and disappeared in an instant. He didn't blame Tang Feng for being rude, but he felt warm in his heart. You're right, I'm not a big shot, I'm just a small role, but you are. So what do you think about the conflict between mutant and ordinary people? Flickering stared at Tang Feng, very concerned about Tang Feng's thoughts, whether it was her, the Black Queen, and others. It was the same. This Tang Feng pondered and didn't know how to answer. He also relied on his strength to live a leisurely life. What great ideals did he have, and he was embarrassed to say it. At this moment, a yacht passed by the sea along the island. Mystique came to pick up the person herself. Come, Tang Feng hurriedly spoke, and his heart was relieved, and when he had a reason, he pretended to be reserved, mysterious, and did not answer. Flickering is not easy to force, so I have to stand aside reluctantly and look at the yacht dock. Come on, Mystique shouted from the yacht. Tang Feng nodded to Twinkle. Twinkle drew with both hands to form a spatial passage, and took Tang Feng and lingered directly onto the yacht. Clarice, long time no see, Mystique asked kindly as she drove the yacht. She grew up watching Twinkle and has a sense of responsibility towards the elders. Well, long time no see, Aunt Draven. Flicker replied lukewarmly. Tang Feng was watching from the side and it was not surprising that Flicker did not agree with Brotherhood's way of doing things. So she took the initiative to distance herself from Mystique and the others. The yacht drove around the island for a while and soon arrived at the other side of the island, driving into a crack on the island, following a fabricated path, and going straight to the center of the island. Chapter 54 4 Mutants. The place where Magneto Eric received Tang Feng was not at the top of the island, but in the center of the island. He used the ability to create an underground secret base under the island, where the Brotherhood usually meets, holds councils, and conducts research and experiments. Welcome, my new compatriot, fellow 4th-level Great Mutant. Tang Feng took the two girls, followed Mystique into the underground passage, turned left and right, finally widened in front of his eyes, and came to an empty place. Magneto Eric opened his arms and welcomed him warmly. Magneto Eric was not wearing the iron helmet because of Charles' absence. Behind him, there were 4 people, 2 strong men, Quicksilver, and a girl with long crimson hair. For these 4 people, Tang Feng looked at him and had some guesses in his heart. A very energetic old man. This is his first impression of Magneto Eric. Add one more sentence in my heart. High school, narcissism. What a great fourth-level mutant. It seems that over the years, Magneto Eric has gone further and further down the villain path. You're joking. In front of you, I dare not call myself great, and I'm just a lucky guy with the level 4 awakening ability. Tang Feng also opened his arms and hugged Magneto Eric gently. The two separated. He said modestly, "That's a mistake. Awakening the 4th level ability is not enough for a word of luck, not to mention that you can use the awakening ability so casually and make the most of the ability." What does this mean? It means that you are the peerless genius of mutant. Your talent is greater than mine and Charles. I think that the 5th level variant ability that Charles and I have been yearning for, you must have the opportunity to achieve it. Magneto Eric sighed and looked at Tang Feng expectantly. He and Charles are both old, and if there is no accident, they will not break through the ability to level 5 by death. He saw the possibility of level 5 in Tang Feng. I hope it's your blessing. Tang Feng shrugged and touched his nose. As for his own calamity ability, why he could use it freely after awakening, he couldn't understand or explain it. He has always believed in the problem of breaking through to the 5th level. Magneto is right. You are different from us. Once your ability is awakening, you can control it freely and never lose control. It's so enviable. Among the 4 people behind Magneto Eric, the girl with crimson long hair spoke curiously and enviously in a pleasant voice. Ha ha ha. Who said that I can't get out of control? I have never been able to control the calamity in my body, and I will destroy my clothes and accidentally hurt others. Because of this, I have been very worried. Tang Feng laughed, stretched out his index finger, and released a dark red calamity. Does the color of the disaster look good? Just like the color of your long hair? It's red and charming. Tang Feng looked at the girl's long crimson hair and said with admiration, "This sentence is definitely annoying." The girl was unprepared in her heart. She couldn't help but blush and turned her head to the side, not knowing how to answer. "Yes, my sister's hair is beautiful, and it's as red as the elder brother's calamity." Linger nodded and said. Blink beside him rolled his eyes, patted his forehead helplessly, and had nothing to say. If he hadn't known that Linger had lost his memory, he might have said, "Idiot, idiot." Only Linger is not afraid. I believe that Tang Feng will not be swayed by other bad women, because she is naive and doesn't understand. For Linger's crush, Tang Feng flirted with flirtation. Everyone has a love for beauty, but they will never live up to it and abandon Linger. Cough. Tang Feng, we meet again. Let me introduce you. This is my sister, Wanda Maximoff. My name is Pietro Maximoff. As a younger brother, he was wary of those who bullied his older sister. Quicksilver coughed a few times, stood in front of Wanda, and introduced himself. Wanda, Pietro, she, are 2 brothers. One is a person with mental ability and the other is a speeder. Quicksilver met you before and there was a little misunderstanding. I hope you don't mind. Magneto Eric took over and spoke slowly. In fact, for Wanda's mutant ability, he always thought it was a mutant mental ability, and didn't know that it was related to the power of chaos. I think the same is true for Kin's Phoenix power, and I think it is a powerful 5th level variant ability. It's over, I won't take it seriously anymore. Tang Feng waved his hands and shook his head, facing Magneto Eric, no longer thinking about breaking Quicksilver's legs. Magneto Eric nodded in satisfaction, continued to introduce, pointed to the other 2 subordinates and said, he is Sabretooth, with the ability to regenerate. He is Juggernaut, with a powerful body. The strength and defense are the strongest I have seen over the years. Mutant. Proud of Magneto Eric's words. 2 sturdy men. One was unshaven, with savagery in his pupils, like a hunting tiger. He was Wolverine's brother, Sabretooth, who lost his memory. The other is taller than any NBA basketball star, with a visual measurement of about 2.45 meters. He is wearing an iron helmet, and only his eyes and mouth can be seen. The arms, thighs, and muscles are terrifyingly strong. He is Juggernaut, not another Juggernaut, but a purebred mutant. The variant skill is level 3, which is a type of physical mutation and is the top skill at level 3. Tang Feng shook his head ridiculously in his heart. Magneto Eric's words are too naive. Strength, defense, the strongest. When Hulk appears, his jaw will be stunned. Dear Victor, how are you? Blink had been taking care of her adoptive father and couldn't stand it anymore, and greeted Sabretooth. Sabretooth just glanced at her, showing tiger teeth, then ignored him and only set his wild eyes on Tang Feng, who felt that his life was in danger. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 55, The Presence is All Scum. Blinking in disappointment, Sabretooth still hadn't recovered her memory, completely ignoring her. Ha ha ha, come and sit down. I'll make you satisfied with the wine and food prepared by me. Then, Magneto Eric excitedly led Tang Feng and others into the restaurant and greeted them to sit down. Oriental food? Tang Feng saw the Chinese food on the wide table, his eyes lit up, and he said in surprise, "That's right, I heard that you are of Oriental blood and knew that you would like to eat Oriental food." Magneto Eric laughed, opened a bottle of good wine, and filled Tang Feng himself. "Oh, you're too polite, I'll do it myself." Tang Feng held a wine glass politely and sniffed it gently. Even if he didn't drink, he could smell it. "That's weird." Cough, cough, cough. After taking a small sip, there was a strong and spicy wine taste that rushed into the heart and lungs, causing Tang Feng to cough loudly and continue eating vegetables before calming down. "Ha ha ha, I forgot, according to the age law, you haven't graduated from the 3rd year of high school, you are not an adult, you can't drink." Magneto Eric was stunned when he saw Tang Feng choking on alcohol, and then said with a laugh, "No, I'm a half-Easterner. According to the Eastern age calculation, I'm already an adult." Tang Feng rolled his eyes fiercely and retorted. In order to prove that he was a man, he endured the discomfort and took a sip of wine. When the drink entered his stomach, his face immediately turned red, and after a while, the alcohol rushed into his brain, and his brain was a little weak. "Well, what kind of wine is this? The alcohol content is too high." It was definitely not that he had poured it into a single cup, but that the alcohol content was too high. In order not to lose face, Tang Feng could only cheat, relax his control over the calamity, and let the calamity digest the wine. The drunkenness suddenly disappeared, leaving only a rosy face on his face. For a moment, he felt bored. Using the power of the disaster to cheat, he can no longer enjoy the food. "I took a piece of roast goose and put it in my mouth to eat. I didn't have time to savor it." After a roll of disaster, there was no residual fragrance left. "Hey, good drink. Another glass." Magneto Eric didn't know what Tang Feng was doing, but he felt that Tang Feng, who had never drunk before, could hold a drink without getting drunk. It was a good drink. He was happy to see that he wanted to get Tang Feng drunk. This is a bad taste of an old man. Standing high, he decides the life and death of others with a single word and strives for his ideals. He has sacrificed too much, making Magneto Eric live like an emperor. He has few close friends, and even Mystique is gradually distancing herself from him. Only Tang Feng, who is also a 4th-level mutant, can let him put down the shelf he is looking down on. "Hey, come here, I'm drinking well." Not to be outdone, Tang Feng drank the wine in his glass proudly. Magneto Eric couldn't help but shout, good drink, I respect you." Juggernaut admired Tang Feng's drinking ability, raised his glass, and poured it first. "You are very strong." Sabretooth cherishes words like gold, raises his glass, salutes from a distance, and raises his head to wipe. Tang Feng accepted all challenges, filled a glass, and replied, "Big brother, is this wine good?" "It smells bad." Linger smelled the smell of the wine, frowned uncomfortably, and asked curiously, "It's hard to drink, only we men are used to drinking it. You can drink this kind of wine?" Tang Feng said, letting Linger taste the prepared cocktail at the same time. Linger took a sip, her eyes lit up. The cocktail was not spicy, It was very suitable for her to drink. Done, done, done. Tang Feng and Magneto Eric, Juggernaut, Sabretooth, kept cheering, and Quicksilver joined in. Under the leadership of Mystique, Linger and Wanda also blinked, drank cocktails, and toasted. Linger's happy face was rosy, and she thought it was too interesting to cheer. So, Linger, Twinkle, and Wanda were all drunk. Even if the cocktails were delicious, they had a certain degree of alcohol in them. The girls had already drunk a lot and were not used to drinking, so it was strange that they were not drunk. Only Mystique was drunk, but she looked at Tang Feng in surprise. Tang Feng maintained his dignified smile, raised his head and held his chest high, with contempt in his eyes, looking at the drunk Magneto Eric, Juggernaut, Sabretooth, all scum, Quicksilver even more scum, still want to pour it out? Joke. Using the force of disaster to cheat, Tang Feng had the last laugh, followed Mystique into the arranged room with Linger in his arms, and rested for the time being. Linger is so cute when she is drunk. Tang Feng looked at her dotingly. Big brother, Linger wants to drink. Linger drunk nonsense. Okay, big brother will give it to you and feed you. What's wrong? Do you want me to have dinner? The day passed and night came. Linger finally woke up from the drunken state. Tang Feng was whispering to her, watching the TV series warmly, while living in the two-person world. Mystique knocked on the door. Tang Feng had no choice but to open the door and asked, "In fact, after strenuous activity, I have to have dinner to fill my stomach." "Come on, Eric wants to see you. If you need dinner, I'll ask someone to prepare it." Mystique noticed Linger inside and joked, "Let's go. You also go prepare dinner and let someone bring it to Linger to eat first. Linger, you stay here, you don't need to follow." Tang Feng shrugged, his face thickened, he no longer cared about the ridicule, and turned to Linger. Well, Linger waits for senior brother to come back, hurry up." Although Linger was reluctant, she was no longer worried that Tang Feng would leave her and said. Tang Feng nodded with a smile, made a light hum, then closed the door and followed Mystique. The wine was finished, the food was finished, and the next thing is to do business. Chapter 56 Magneto's Experiment. The night, the secret base under the island, is destined to be invisible. All the way, the lights are bright. Tang Feng followed Mystique and finally came to an alloy door. He raised his eyebrows and saw that Mystique didn't want to be jealous of him. He quickly entered a series of digital passwords and opened the door. He was speechless. Such a complicated and difficult password. Even if he showed it, he couldn't remember it. No wonder he didn't care about it being behind him. "Eric is waiting for you inside, I won't go in." Mystique pointed to the inside of the door. Her face was complicated. Her eyes were full of anticipation, but also uneasiness, daze and fear. After she finished speaking, she left first, as if she didn't want to come here. Tang Feng blinked suspiciously, unable to think of the reason, so he walked in alone. The door was automatically sensed, and as Tang Feng entered, it slowly closed automatically. Tang Feng didn't care that the door was closed, and when he looked around, what caught his attention were the small prisons lined up on both sides. There was a corridor in the middle, and at the end was a place where various high-tech instruments were displayed. There was also an operating table on which a man was lying, tied up tightly. Magneto Eric was busy at the side. Each of these small prisons was only about 3 or 4 square meters in size, and there were nearly 40 in number. All of these detainees looked indifferent, ashen, as if they were living corpses. Even if they saw Tang Feng come in, they just glanced at them and then fell silent in a daze, not knowing what they were experiencing. Tang Feng took a deep breath and leaned against the door, suddenly feeling a gloomy wind blowing, as if he was about to see hell on earth. He already had a guess in his heart that this place must be an experimental place, and it was real. According to the villain's style, it was almost inseparable. "Tang Feng, you're here, look, what do you think of this place?" Magneto Eric temporarily stopped what he was doing and walked towards Tang Feng, pointing at the prisons on both sides. The ordinary people inside were frantic. "This place makes me feel bad." Tang Feng was frank, then frowned and asked, "You've detained so many ordinary people, what are you trying to do?" "Oh no, Are you sympathizing with them? No, they're not worthy of sympathy. There's an old saying in the East, which is called, the cycle of cause and effect. Retribution is unhappy. It means that if you do something wrong, you will definitely have the same retribution. I agree with this sentence. These ordinary people have been chasing our mutant for a long time, and the number of secret experiments on mutant is countless, so why can't we take revenge in the same way? Magneto Eric pointed at the detained ordinary people. His tone changed from calm to fierce, and his expression became excited. I don't want to argue with you about this. What experiment are you doing now? Tang Feng was silent, shook his head and asked. He is not a good person. Even if he doesn't like Magneto Eric's behavior, he will not accuse him, interfere with him, or get into trouble with him. It is not good for anyone. I'm sorry, I was too excited just now. Seeing that Tang Feng did not intend to accuse him, Magneto Eric calmed down, apologized first, and then said in an impassioned tone, I am doing an experiment to make ordinary people become mutants. Have you ever thought about it? The reason why we mutants are excluded and persecuted by ordinary people is because the number of people is too small. It's also because we mutants are evolved human beings, not those low-level ordinary people. They should be noble by nature, as leaders of human beings. Comparing mutants to ordinary people is like comparing humans to apes, and there is absolutely no comparison. Ordinary people know this. That's why they are afraid of and so crazily hostile towards mutants. Charles has no solution to this problem, and his ideal of living in peace with the common people will never come true. And I am different. After so many years of exploration and hard work, I finally found a solution. We have few mutants, so let's turn ordinary people into mutants and let all human beings in the world become mutants. Without ordinary people, only mutants exist. So there will be no contradictions. Magneto Eric finished his words without taking a breath. This is the original movie, the plot of Magneto Eric's Troubles. After Tang Feng heard it, he did not have the excitement and approval that Magneto Eric expected, nor the possible objection he expected, only excitement. Even if it is not the same as the movie world, Magneto Eric's fate has not changed much. Are you sure the experiment will succeed? Tang Feng couldn't turn a blind eye and watched Magneto Eric walk into a dead end and said, it will definitely succeed. The experiment of transforming ordinary people into mutants has already achieved initial results. I believe the experiment will be successful soon. Come here, I'll show you the experiment on the spot. Magneto Eric is like a dead tree in spring, with frenzy and passion on his face. While speaking, he took Tang Feng to the side of the operation, and then put his hand on an energy-absorbing instrument and began to release his power. No, no, stop for me, devil, devil. With Magneto Eric's actions, the ordinary people who have been keeping themselves alive dead men finally woke up, struggling frantically, screaming. This is the fear of facing death. Start again. The rest of the ordinary people also woke up, cowering in the corner in fear, and screamed in despair. Tang Feng suppressed his unbearable heart, ignored the movement behind him, sighed, and continued to watch Magneto Eric's experiment. The energy-absorbing device is transmitting Magneto Eric's power into the body of the ordinary person on the operating table. There are some instruments nearby to help, and it is injecting some unknown liquid into his body. Then, I saw his body freeze, as if returning to the light, struggling more intensely, his eyes rolling back, his face twisted and terrifying. Chapter 57, Godlike Self-Confidence. The result was no accident. The man who was reduced to the experimental product finally died. The death was terrible. The dried and festering corpse had a nauseating smell, which made Tang Feng frown and his stomach churn violently. Digested from the stomach, he will vomit on the spot. It was so disgusting that Tang Feng couldn't bear it, so he hurriedly returned to the alloy gate. He killed a lot of people and saw bloodshed, but compared to the experiment, it was really a small scene. Tang Feng was horrified and frightened, having witnessed human experiments with his own eyes. He finally understood how terrifying and desperate it was. I also realized that these ordinary people are so crazy and desperate when they wait for the day when the experiment comes. What's the matter? Let's go out and talk. When Magneto Eric finished processing the experimental traces, Tang Feng said impatiently. Magneto Eric nodded and didn't mock Tang Feng. The horror of the experiment, even Mystique didn't want to see it, let alone Tang Feng. After skillfully entering the password, Magneto Eric and Tang Feng left. By the way, among those ordinary people before, are there any people who want it? He went to a resting place with Magneto Eric, sat down, and ordered a cup of hot boiled water. Tang Feng drank it, calming his stomach, thinking about the purpose of coming here, and asked, "That's right, the girl you want is one of the experiments." Although he hasn't experimented on her yet, he also knows the plan of the experiment, so he can't give it back to you. Magneto Eric nodded and said, "Why?" "It turns out that your experimental plan cannot be leaked until it is successful. Otherwise, you should return it to me first. Before returning the girl, I will instruct the White Queen to make the girl lose her memory of this period of time and forget about the experiment." "Okay?" Tang Feng nodded in understanding and slowly said the solution. "Okay, as long as you promise that my experimental plan will not leak to you." Magneto Eric thought for a moment and agreed, looking at Tang Feng seriously and warningly. "You can rest assured that although I am not optimistic about your plan, I am also a mutant and will not reveal your experiments." Tang Feng put down the cup in his hand, sat down in danger, and said solemnly. Magneto Eric had no doubts. He was willing to trust the new compatriot. In fact, knowing that Tang Feng was decisive in killing things, he deliberately took him to see the experiment, and seeing that he did not object or strongly accuse him, he knew that Tang Feng was not a good person who specializes in bad things. It is also because of Tang Feng's mature demeanor that people often overlook his youth. "Hey, you are wrong. Although this experiment failed again, you can also see that the experimental subject used the mutant ability to try to survive before dying." Magneto Eric refuted Tang Feng's words and said excitedly, "Even if there are signs of success, I still don't believe it is. We don't know much about the X gene in our bodies, and we don't know much about it. Playing like you will only cause tragedy." Thinking of Magneto Eric's tragic end, Tang Feng persisted, sighed and shook his head. If it works, he doesn't want the experiment to succeed. In this way, turning ordinary people into mutants and turning everyone into mutants is indeed the way to solve the race problem. Doing so, although it will lead to a terrible consequence, it will become ordinary people who have become mutants, suddenly possessing stronger or weaker power, and it is destined to fail to maintain its peace, and the world will definitely be in chaos. However, it is also worth a try. However, after all, it is an impossible dream. Who said that I am doing nothing? After so many years, I have done nothing. In addition to protecting our compatriots, I have also devoted myself to studying the X gene. We already know a lot about the reason why the X gene in our body can be stimulated. I firmly believe that the experiment will be successful." Magneto Eric looked confident, like an experimental madman, with a 100% narcissistic mindset, determined to succeed. If the experiment is so easy to succeed, then there won't be a single captain from Country M. Tang Feng very tactfully reminded Magneto Eric that experiments are very dangerous, the success rate is very low, and miracles are rare. There is no shortage of geniuses in this world, and there are also many extremely intelligent people. The villainous leader of Hydra, also confident that he would succeed, turned into a skull. Green Goblin also thought that the experiment would be successful, but as everyone knew, he became Spider-Man's antagonist. Dr. Lizard, Dr. Octopus, the accidental tragedy of the Hulk experiment. There are too many examples of experimental failures and shocking cases, which make people alert. As an outsider, Tang Feng was alert, but Magneto Eric couldn't listen. He believed that the experiment would be successful. As a result, Tang Feng left in disappointment. It seems that Magneto Eric's plan is still as inevitable as the plot. The experiment will fail, the X-Men will stop it, there will be a battle, and justice will finally triumph over evil, and Magneto will be arrested because he temporarily loses his power. Then, another series of tragedies occurred. What can I do? Back in the room, Tang Feng did not show his face, talked to linger easily, had dinner, and was still thinking about this before going to bed. He is also a member of Mutant and a powerful 4th-level mutant. Even if Tang Feng does not want to cause trouble, he cannot stay out of the matter. Thinking about it, Tang Feng fell asleep in a daze, and also made a decision in his heart. The next day, Tang Feng did not stay any longer, and took a blonde girl whom Magneto Eric agreed to hand over, that is, EPA's daughter, ready to go back. Chapter 58. It's time to do business. Magneto Eric made an appointment to meet Tang Feng, just to see him, curious about the 4th-level mutant compatriots of the New Awakening, and also had expectations for Tang Feng. After some testing, he learned that Tang Feng was not a good guy like Charles, and would not hinder his plans, so he was relieved and no longer kept Tang Feng, an underground secret base, in a spacious hall. Is that a Nightcrawler? Tang Feng brought the blonde girl. She has a popular name, Alice, followed by Linger, flashing with skill, forming a spatial channel. Tang Feng said goodbye to Magneto Eric and the others. Before entering the spatial passage and leaving, he glanced at it. He saw Magneto and others, and in a corner, there was a gaze that was looking at him cautiously and curiously. Green skin, a tail slightly protruding from the corner. According to these characteristics, Tang Feng recognized that it is Nightcrawler, with the ability to teleport. As long as the eyes can see the place, he can teleport. It is not as convenient as blinking. Tang Feng pondered, retracted his gaze, entered the spatial passage and left. As far as he knew, Nightcrawler was the son of Mystique and Red Devil, and it was not clear why. It seems that Mystique does not like the unexpected Nightcrawler, and Nightcrawler's appearance, even if it is a mutant, is not adorable. Nightcrawler had no playmates since he was a child. He was excluded, and Mystique's aloof attitude made him feel inferior and very insecure. Even if he was curious about Tang Feng, he would use the teleportation ability to quietly appear to see, but he was hiding in the dark. On the other hand, Mystique and Charles, Magneto Eric, had a close relationship. Tang Feng couldn't help but shake his head. The circle is really messy. He saw Nightcrawler and also confirmed one thing. In the X-Men plot, Nightcrawler will be controlled by Colonel Stryker and ordered. It is estimated that it was because Magneto was captured and lost his asylum that Colonel Stryker succeeded. As for Nightcrawler's memory, due to control, it has also been modified. Tang Feng converged his thoughts, opened the space channel several times after blinking, and soon returned to the headquarters. Without wasting any time, he called the White Queen. It didn't take long for the White Queen to withdraw her hands on both sides of Alice's head. Looking at how relaxed she was, she nodded to Tang Feng, indicating that it was done, and Alice lost the memory of Magneto Eric's experiment. Tang Feng nodded and didn't care about the White Queen's past, what she did, whether she was a good person or a bad person. Now she only needs to be loyal to her and follow orders. The same is true for the Black Queen, because in order to maintain youth and longevity, she has to absorb the vitality of ordinary people from time to time. If there is a battle and the vitality is severely depleted, she will draw more vitality. There are countless people who died in his hands in such a long time. After Tang Feng became the White King, he also knew everyone's situation, but he ignored it, did not criticize, and did not support it. If you have something to do, you can order it, and if you have nothing to do, just mind your own business. That's what Tang Feng thought. Too much control is not good. He called EPA, who had been waiting at the headquarters, and returned Alice to her. Although she lost her memory, Alice will not forget her father. EPA naturally cried with joy, hugged her daughter tightly, thanked Tang Feng very gratefully, and did not forget to hand over a prepared property transfer document with her signature. As long as Tang Feng signed his name, he could have half of his property. If it weren't for Tang Feng acting in person, even the Black Queen could not ask someone from Magneto Eric. Alice would have failed the experiment and died tragically. Thanks to him, Alice was saved. This is the reward he deserves. Tang Feng did not falsely refuse, signed his name and accepted half of EPA's property. At a glance, there is a valuation on the document. The property is about $5 billion. There are really not many. Compared with the supergroups of hundreds of billions and trillions, and the super-rich, EPA's total assets are about $10 billion US, and they can only be regarded as ordinary rich people. They got $5 billion, and Tang Feng did not ask for more. Although I was excited when I signed the autograph, It soon calmed down, and there's a sense of boredom that dreams can easily achieve. He knew that with strength, money would not be lacking. As long as he was not a good person, he would make money. No, those who want to be good people are like Spider-Man. They are doing chivalry and fighting for righteousness while struggling to count money to live. The same is true for Hulk. Tang Feng has always wondered, why should he feel wronged and suffer so much when he clearly has power? EPA took Alice and left with a grateful face. Next, it's time to do the right thing. Tang Feng stretched his back, twisted his neck a few times, and said to himself, "What are you doing?" Noticing that Linger was lying down and looked like she was being favored, Tang Feng's face was full of black lines, and he said angrily, "Didn't Big Brother tell you to do business?" Linger asked with a strange look on her face, and her eyes widened as if she was saying, "I know what to ask." Tang Feng didn't know whether to laugh or cry, but he slapped his forehead helplessly. It turned out that in Linger's heart, there was only one business for him. "Okay, get up, Big Brother will deal with other matters. Even if you want to, you have to wait until night comes, but it's not even noon now." Tang Feng shook his head, made a phone call, and ordered the White Queen to collect information about the Colonel. Stryker, whatever it was, had to know and let him know as soon as possible. What he said was the serious business of getting revenge on the Colonel. Stryker, as the White King of the Hellfire Club, he has such a large network of resources, which means that intelligence is no longer a problem. Colonel Stryker's various intelligence materials can also be known. Stryker. Colonel Stryker, your days are over, Tang Feng muttered to himself with a cold face. Colonel Stryker has been targeting him, plotting to publish his news, and constantly chasing him. Even if these things are not clear, one can guess who is behind the scenes. Not to mention that the White Queen had already told him that, as he had guessed, Colonel Stryker was doing the trick. Chapter 59, The Name of the Saint. Tang Feng continued to talk about Colonel Stryker. The same, Colonel Stryker did not forget it. The idea of conspiracy and tricks, constantly emerging, denying, implementing. How is the plan going? Very good. Now the news of the saint has spread in the dark world. Those vampires who can't see the light must have heard of it. All right, let's spread another information, saying that there is a vampire who was lucky with a drop of the saint's blood, and then he is not afraid of the sun. Can it work? It is obviously false. No, even if it is false, it is not confirmed, for those vampires, even if there is only a small chance, they will be crazy and desperate. In the shadows, Colonel Stryker's gloomy face was vaguely revealed. His eyes were like poisonous snakes, full of conspiracies. Vampires, such filthy creatures, have existed since ancient times and represent darkness. The angels and legends represent the opposition between light and darkness. Also means that if a vampire representing darkness wants to overcome the weakness of being afraid of the sun, he must try to understand the light, so that it will be possible to break free from the sun. You said that if there's a saint for them to study, will those vampires go crazy and catch her at all costs? Colonel Stryker asked sadly. The subordinate standing aside did not answer, but he already had the answer. Let's report and act according to the plan. When the vampires act, we have to act. Even if we can't get the people back, we must obtain plenty of blood samples, preferably corpses. As ordered, sir. Colonel Stryker waved his hand, and his subordinates respectfully walked out, opening the door, and a brief light came in. In the shadows, there was a bald man sitting in a wheelchair, his face sluggish and his head bowed, like a mentally handicapped child. Mutant, I will definitely destroy you all. Colonel Stryker glanced at the bald man, then withdrew his gaze, gritting his teeth in hatred. If it weren't for his son, Mutant, who awakened the uncontrollable illusion skill, the family would not have been broken up, and his wife would have committed suicide. His conspiracy against Tang Feng was carried out again, this time targeting Lisa. Because he was worried about Tang Feng's power and afraid that he would take unreasonable revenge, Colonel Stryker did not personally take action, but instead spread distant rumors to lure the vampires into action, and he, hiding in the dark, benefited from the fishermen and became an Oriole. However, before the plan was implemented, He didn't know that Tang Feng had joined the Hellfire Club and became the White King. Otherwise, he will carefully consider again and again whether he should plan or not. The Hellfire Club's intelligence ability is not weaker than the rest of the forces. Just an hour later, all kinds of information about Colonel Stryker, a thick stack of white paper, was handed to Tang Feng by the White Queen. Whether big or small, bosses he has connected with, relatives, friends or strangers, all the places he has been, things related to the Colonel Stryker. If there's anything missing, it's not much. Tang Feng looked at him and nodded in satisfaction. It was really complete. He finally had a deep understanding of the villain Colonel Stryker, the Weapon X project, the Gene X experiment, the Sentinel project. Tang Feng looked at these words solemnly, and his heart was extremely heavy. There was a saying that the person who knew him best was the enemy. The Colonel Stryker, as the enemy and villain of Mutant, made him try his best to understand Mutant. In this way, he undoubtedly knew Mutant and the X gene better than everyone else. Tang Feng couldn't help but think of an idea. If Magneto Eric's experimental plan for the Mutant was studied by Colonel Stryker, I might succeed. After thinking about it, he laughed foolishly. With the Colonel Stryker hates mutants so much, how could he take over Magneto Eric's experiment? If you control Colonel Stryker with psychic power, it is not easy to use. People who are controlled will have different ideas and considerations from the original, and their IQ will also drop. It is useless to control it. Hey, why don't you have his exact location? After reading it, Tang Feng asked in surprise. There is no way. He is so good at hiding. Even if I want to find him, it is difficult to be sure. The places above are where he may or may not be hiding. The White Queen shook her head helplessly, stretched out her white index finger and pointed at the paper. What a disgusting mouse to hide. After hearing the reason, Tang Feng did not blame the White Queen, so he cursed angrily and chose a location. It was a secret research base belonging to Colonel Stryker, and his base might be destroyed if he was lucky. It was decided. Tang Feng immediately acted. Still the same, called Blink. His teleportation ability was too convenient and easy to use. Let's go, Tang Feng said indifferently. He ignored the White Queen's resentful eyes. It was ridiculous. Who did he take him for? He wasn't a scumbag, and he didn't just want to do something strange all day long. A stud. Really speechless? Can't you look at the time? I was busy, and Linger was by my side. How could I be in the mood to cheat? Oops, it seems I said the wrong thing. The flashes that arrived in a hurry formed a spatial passage and took Tang Feng and Linger away. Chapter 60. The base beneath the garbage station. What a cunning mouse. The location of the secret base has such an idea. Tang Feng looked at the garbage station in front of him and scolded in admiration. The garbage station stinks, and there are garbage trucks driving garbage. Pedestrians stay away from here and don't want to get close. No one thought that there would be an underground base under the garbage station. Colonel Stryker built the underground base here. In addition to the surprise of other people, it is also convenient to destroy the traces of research. No matter what you study, if you throw it into the garbage station afterwards, everything will be destroyed. Although the garbage station is not in a lively area, because of the stench, filth, and few pedestrians, there are people passing by from time to time, and it is not easy to invade it openly and honestly. Finding a hidden corner to avoid everyone's sight, Tang Feng nodded to Flickering and asked her to use teleportation to take him and Linger directly to the underground base. The ability to flash is very convenient, as long as there is a rough distance direction. Even if you don't see it, you can teleport there. Beauty, there are still two of you, brothers. We can't have enough fun. Shouting in surprise, whistling, a very arrogant gangster wearing a gold chain, tattooed, walking, came with three younger brothers. Greedy eyes on Linger. Two flashing girls, kept turning around. Sure enough, gangsters are everywhere. Tang Feng shook his head speechlessly, not wanting to waste time, or pretending to be a pig and eat a tiger, pretending, without saying a word, that the calamity had been eliminated. The four gangsters turned into a pile of dust with a single shout, proving that they existed. Let's go, Tang Feng said softly, nodding with a happy look on his face. He had no sympathy for the gangster who did all the bad things. Using the skill, with Tang Feng, Linger disappeared and entered the underground secret base. Huh? I seem to hear someone shouting. Why didn't I see anyone? Did I hear it wrong? Someone scratched his head strangely, heard the sound of a garbage truck in his ears, frowned, and quickly walked away, thinking he heard it wrong, ignoring the dust on the ground, shining brightly under the sunlight. Then, a gust of wind blew, and the dust immediately disappeared. Who? He just appeared in the underground base. Bad luck. There were people on the spot, and suddenly the three Tang Fengs met. Linger, you were with Blink. Be careful. 50 degrees to the left. About 50 meters away, there are more than a dozen compatriots detained there. Go rescue them first. If there is danger, don't worry about anything else. Blink first. Take Linger to retreat. Tang Feng quickly finished speaking, condensed the power of disaster with both hands, and slid to both sides. The 5 people who were shocked at the scene died on the spot and turned into dust. It's a pity that he's not here. Tang Feng frowned and muttered to himself. Through the exploration of the field, according to Colonel Stryker's body shape, no similar person was found in the underground base, and he knew that he was looking in the wrong place. People, not found. According to the plan, slaughter, destroy the underground base. According to the information, this underground base is mainly responsible for investigating mutant S strange ability, and has done a lot of evil things. No one is innocent, except for some mutants who are imprisoned. Tang Feng walked towards the center of the underground base according to the terrain he had discovered, bragging, not being cautious at all, and covering his tracks. Twinkle and Linger had passed through the space channel and disappeared in place. They appeared where Tang Feng said, and they also saw mutant who was locked in the prison. There were several fully armed soldiers around, keeping watch. Who? Alert. As soon as the soldiers on guard recalled themselves and aimed their guns, they lost sight of the 2 women. The sound of her tail rubbing against the ground could be heard, and Linger, who had turned into a snake girl, walked behind the soldier with a cold face, showing no mercy. Using teleportation, Flashing was faster than Linger. With a sharp dagger in her hand, she appeared beside a soldier, and with a single blow to his neck, blood spurted out on the spot. With the continuous sound of falling to the ground, several soldiers had no power to fight back. "You're safe, come out." Flashing quickly over to a soldier, she found the key hanging on his waist, opened the prison door, and comforted him. The mutant inside cried with joy, thanked her with gratitude, and ran out impatiently. Next, Blink uses the space channel to get the mutant compatriots out of here first. On the other hand, Tang Feng is like a bulldozer, pushing everything violently and arrogantly, whether it is people, objects, or any attack, blocking with poisonous gas. All are destroyed with calamity, and soon they reach the center, and they are also caught. He seems to be the leader of the researcher, a middle-aged man with a big back, looking at his gloomy appearance and shrewd eyes, knew that he was not a good person. "Don't talk nonsense, I ask, you answer." An inappropriate answer, hesitation, or a lie is the end. You are responsible for supervising. If you lie, as long as you say it, I will let you go. Otherwise, if you can't tell the difference, that means it's useless, then you die. Tang Feng destroyed the table next to him, threatened, then turned his head to look at the other 3 researchers, 1 man and 2 women. The women were good-looking. Under the threat of Tang Feng's strength, they felt that their lives could not be guaranteed at any time. The investigator leader and the other 3 subordinates worked hard and did their best. When I say something about my daily investigation, I am still anxious to remember it, for fear of accidentally saying something wrong. The other 3 listened attentively, trying to find evidence that I was lying. In this way, Tang Feng soon knew everything that this underground base was doing. Chapter 61, The Embarrassed Tang Feng. After listening, Tang Feng was furious. Even if he knew some information in advance and was mentally prepared, he still didn't expect that the darkness in the world would be so filthy and terrifying. Just hearing about their daily research and experiments on mutants, Tang Feng couldn't help but imagine the scene of hell in his mind, which made him shudder and shudder. Damn bastards, to live is to let them continue to chase mutants. It is better to die. Tang Feng's eyes flashed fiercely, and after speaking mercilessly, the catastrophe violently spread to the 4 people in front of him. There were 2 women among them. As long as he is doomed, he will not show mercy to women. Have you finished collecting the research data? After killing people, I feel a little better, asked Tang Feng, who was busy blinking in front of the computer. Linger has recovered and is behaving calmly and well by his side. During the process of Tang Feng questioning these researchers, the 2 women had already taken out the mutant compatriots, settled them, and returned. The flash hacking technique was fine, and there was a permission password given by the leader of the researcher who was afraid of death. She was holding a USB flash drive to copy the information of the research institute. Come on, wait a few more minutes. Stepping back while busy, then turned back. On the computer screen, the progress of 80% was displayed. Tang Feng nodded slowly. Anyway, everyone in the underground base was killed. Even if Colonel Stryker was notified of the alarm, it was impossible for reinforcements to arrive in just a few minutes, so just wait. No, it has a self-destruct setting. As long as the research data is copied to 100%, the underground base will explode. Suddenly, Flicker saw that the research materials had been copied. Just as she was about to show a relaxed smile, she saw that a red warning suddenly appeared on the computer screen. His smile froze and he shouted at Tang Feng in horror, "Not good. Quickly open the space channel." Tang Feng heard that, subconsciously aware of the threat to his life. He shouted nervously, and at the same time grabbed Linger's little hand and rushed towards Flicker. Linger also felt the strong premonition of danger, causing her to involuntarily transform into a snake girl. "Let's go." Flicker's response was very fast. Before Tang Feng could finish speaking, the space channel had already been formed. He hurriedly took out the USB flash drive, stood in front of the space channel, and shouted anxiously. With a short distance of a few meters and a reaction time of 1 to 2 seconds, Tang Feng, Twinkle, Linger, all reacted very quickly and made the most appropriate decision. However, reality is not a movie. In fact, the self-destruction had already begun before the red warning appeared. There was a bang, like a dry thunder on the flat ground, and the ground shook violently, followed by a surging shock wave, accompanied by a heat wave and a raging flame. Time is too late. Tang Feng brought Linger to the front of the spatial passage, and the devastating impact of the explosion was also very close behind him. It was only half a second to a second, and there was no time to completely enter the spatial passage. Someone has to stop. Tang Feng's time seemed to stop, and he made a decision in an instant. With a certain look, he pushed Linger into the spatial passage, turned around and leaned back, his expression flickering, and continued forward. Close the spatial channel and leave. Ruthless time did not give Tang Feng a chance to say more. If he was in a hurry, he would not be in the mood to pay attention to it. He gritted his teeth, held his breath subconsciously, roared uncomfortably, and calamity violently erupted from his body. Wrapped the body to protect it, and also used the body as a shield to block the entrance of the spatial passage. "Big brother," I vaguely heard Linger's words from far away in the sky, and the next moment, it completely turned into a deafening explosion. The eyes were blurred, as if the sky was dark, and the head rumbled even more and was louder, and the rocks continued to fall. Even if there is a catastrophe to protect him, he has enough confidence in the power of the 4th-level catastrophe to break through the catastrophe and hurt him. He knew it was the same. When I encountered the scene of the underground base self-destructing, I couldn't help it. I only had the instinct to burst out the force of the disaster desperately, resist the power of self-destruction, and roar restlessly. After all, Tang Feng couldn't calm down in this situation. At this moment, he was very embarrassed, restless, and panicked because he couldn't suppress his grumpy thoughts. For a long time, at least in the time Tang Feng felt, it was a long time, the explosion finally stopped. The rock was no longer falling, and all the sounds and movements around him were silent. Explosion. Stop? Tang Feng looked left and right blankly. There was darkness in front of him, only the dark red light of the disaster, and then he felt that he was short of air. Obviously there was not much air on the ground. He just moved his body slightly and felt the boulder pressed against him. It was only because the catastrophe destroyed the boulder that it opened up a space that could accommodate him alone. and he did not feel the weight of the compression. He was buried alive in the ground. The air is rapidly being consumed. Striker. Good, good, good. Suddenly, Tang Feng clenched his fists and roared his heart-piercing roar. The calamity was violent and violent, like a cyan bursting into gas. Less scope. Since awakening the ability, no matter what dangers or challenges he faces, he has always been calm and composed, and has never felt so embarrassed. I remember this account. After shouting, Tang Feng regained his composure, with a terrifyingly calm expression on his face. Then, in his hands, he condensed a formidable calamity far beyond the usual and pointed it diagonally upwards. Due to the impact of the self-explosion, the ground collapsed. The garbage station was affected by the explosion. Garbage scattered everywhere, and the wall house collapsed and cracked. Around the edges, some people gathered one after another, their faces puzzled, nervous, and restless. The impact of the explosion made them think that an earthquake had occurred. Twinkle and Linger were also there. They looked anxious and panicked, and Linger had already burst into tears, worried that something would happen to Tang Feng. At this moment, a dark red ray of light shot out from the ground. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 62. The meteorite falls from the sky. It was as if the villain appeared. The devil descended, intertwined with the dark red calamity. Tang Feng's figure flew out of the ground from the passage that had been broken by the calamity and returned to the ground. The expected flight, as he became more and more familiar with the control of the calamity. Although he could not fly freely and do whatever he wanted, Tang Feng could also use the calamity to float briefly to get rid of the planet's magnetic field. He believes that the day when he can fly freely and freely will not be long away. Let's go. Tang Feng held back his calamity, grabbed Linger with one hand and smiled at her, expressing that he was fine and comforting her. Then he looked at the flicker, ignoring the horrified eyes of some people around him, and regardless of whether his whereabouts were exposed, his appearance would frighten many people. She nodded heavily, seeing that Tang Feng was okay. She felt relieved. At the same time, she was also very grateful to Tang Feng. If Tang Feng hadn't been able to withstand the power of the explosion, he wouldn't have been able to leave in time and be safe. Even if he knew that Tang Feng's main purpose was to protect Linger, he guessed that it was incidental, or at least saved her life. This is a fact. With Tang Feng's words, Flicker is not afraid of shocking the world, so he formed a spatial passage in public and took Tang Feng, Linger and left here. My god, they are mutants. What kind of ability is that? When you enter it, it disappears. God, that man just now is the Red Devil wanted by the military, the super dangerous mutant. I heard that he can cause disasters. Did he cause all the tremors just now and the collapse of the ground? As the three of Tang Feng left, passers-by woke up and made shocking comments one after another. It didn't take long for the news about Tang Feng and the three of them to be broadcast to various news stations, and the explosion was placed on Tang Feng's head. In this regard, he doesn't have to worry about owing a lot of debts. He doesn't care about being slandered and blamed anymore. He is now full of rage and just wants to find that bastard Striker and torture him to death. Okay, a mere self-destruction is not enough to kill me, unless it is a nuclear bomb. Okay. That's all for now, I'm busy. After Tang Feng dealt with the worries and greetings of the White Queen and others, he looked up and saw a large mountain with rugged cliffs and strange peaks. From time to time, he saw birds flying and some animals calling. This seemingly quiet and ordinary mountain actually hides a secret base on the mountainside, which is also a research base belonging to Colonel Striker. There are no mutant companions in it, and we don't have to break in person this time. Tang Feng noticed that Flicker was about to open the space channel and hurriedly stopped him. Through scanning the field, Tang Feng roughly understood the situation of the research base. He sneered, not having any suitable mutant compatriots. He walked in lazily, and didn't want to experience another scene of self-destruction. Just destroy everything. Landslide. Tang Feng used the disaster skill, although it was the first time he used landslide, but just like instinct, he used it with ease. What is a disaster? It is a disaster that occurs unexpectedly in daily life, and it is also a disaster that occurs in nature. Landslides, avalanches, landslides, ground fissures, and even building collapses also belong to the scope of disasters. Therefore, Tang Feng can also use it. However, there are too many disasters that Tang Feng can use. He will choose which disaster to use according to the actual situation. Clearly, the current situation is suitable for landslides. As Tang Feng Yaoya held her empty hand, Linger was also shocked by the flashing shock. There was a roar from the mountain in front of him, and the mountain collapsed and collapsed without warning. The mountain was like a pile of wood, and it completely disintegrated after being gently pushed. The research base hidden in the belly of the mountain, and all the people inside, were buried alive in a daze and panic. The landslide made a large mountain disappear, leaving only a pile of stones with different file sizes in its place, which raised dust, filled the surroundings, and rolled towards Tang Feng. Let's go. Go to the next target location. Tang Feng withdrew his hand and said calmly, not showing the pleasure of revenge, only the pleasure in his eyes. Destroying one or two secret bases can't make Tang Feng relieve his hatred. He will destroy more, until he forces Colonel Stryker to appear, or find him. In the dust like a giant screen, when Jujuan arrived, Twinkle took Tang Feng, Linger and left. There is still a shock on the flashing face, and the destructive power brought by the landslide can't help but be feared and unforgettable. A secret research base hidden in a suburban industrial area. A research base hidden on an unnamed island. A research base hidden in a dense forest. Over the next 3 days, through flashing teleports, fast transfers around the world, take a moment to find, confirm. 3 more research bases secretly established by Colonel Stryker were found, and they were destroyed one by one. Having learned the lessons from the underground base of the garbage station, Tang Feng has become more cautious and will never give the base a chance to self-destruct. The research base hidden in the industrial area is studying chemical gases. Tang Feng used man-made disasters to create an accident, which let out toxic and deadly biochemical gases, trapping all the people in the base, killing them all. The secret research base on the unnamed island is not afraid of hurting innocent people. Tang Feng didn't have to tie his hands and feet, and simply caused a huge tsunami and earthquake, which shattered the island. The cooperation of the 2 disasters directly sank the island into the sea, causing the island, or everyone else, to disappear. As for the last secret research base, something unexpected happened before it was destroyed. Before he started, Tang Feng received a shocking and very angry news. That night, everyone saw a meteorite streak across the sky and fall down. Several news stations urgently broadcast the news. Chapter 63 What's up with the vampire clan? The matter was too unexpected, the news I heard was too sudden, and I was anxious and angry, and I was eager to vent. In the end, I let Tang Feng use the power of natural disaster again, borrowing a little power from the impact of the planet, and summoned a small meteorite. A large number of meteorite craters appeared in the center of the dense forest. It was in the middle of the research base. The impact and destructive power brought by the meteorite and the depth of the impact completely destroyed the research base. No matter whether it was people or objects, it was not spared. Although this kind of power is terrifying, it is only trivial to the destructive power of meteorites. If the angry Tang Feng was a little more ruthless and summoned a larger meteorite, it would completely destroy the entire forest. The fall of the meteorite also caused a fire that is gradually burning a dense forest. That night, the screeching of fire trucks continued, and reporters from various news stations rushed over. A topic about the sudden appearance and fall of meteorites has aroused heated debates in the society. No matter how hot the outside world was, Tang Feng was not in the mood to pay attention. He hurried back to the headquarters through the flashing spatial passage with a gloomy and terrifying face. Because he borrowed the power of natural disasters, he was still weak and did not care. As soon as I saw the White Queen and the Black Queen, I immediately asked, "What happened to the rumor of the saint? How is Lisa?" Although I knew from the phone that Lisa was fine, Tang Feng still wanted to confirm it. "Don't worry, your sister is fine. Just a false alarm. Our people have repelled the vampires and escorted your sister back to Xavier Academy in person," the White Queen quickly said. After confirming, Tang Feng finally relaxed, exhaled, calmed down, and sat on the sofa. "Tell me what's going on." Tang Feng frowned. His face was very dignified. "Until now, it is still covered in water." The White Queen suddenly called and said that her sister was attacked by a vampire. Fortunately, he was accompanied by Keen and the person she sent to protect him before returning to the Xavier Academy safely. The White Queen was also in the Dark World by accident. She heard rumors about Lisa and noticed that something was wrong. Knowing that Lisa is Tang Feng's younger sister, she immediately asked people to inquire about Lisa's current situation, and heard that she left the academy to visit her uncle's family. With her experience, she was sensitively aware of the conspiracy and a dangerous atmosphere enveloped Lisa. So, she quickly sent her subordinates to protect Lisa. Sure enough, things did not go as she expected. It was indeed a group of vampires who wanted to harm Lisa. I learned through various information that it was vampires who shot her. However, the man behind the scenes behind the conspiracy to spread the Holy Maiden's words is too clean and it has not yet been confirmed who he is, the White Queen explained to Tang Feng. Although there is no evidence, my intuition tells me that it is very likely that Colonel Stryker, who has been targeting you, is the devil. The Black Queen added from the side. "It's you again, damn Stryker." Tang Feng didn't even think about it. Even if there was no evidence, he believed it was Colonel Stryker. And only he had a reason to be against Lisa. As for the other conspirators, Tang Feng will not speculate for the time being until there is solid evidence, but he had identified Colonel Stryker anyway. The matter of getting revenge on the Colonel Stryker, put it aside for now. Will it bring trouble to Lisa because of the Saint's rumors? Will the vampires stop this? Cursing the Colonel Stryker felt resentful for a moment. Tang Feng rubbed his eyebrows with a headache. He couldn't help him for the time being, and he couldn't find anyone. Thinking of Lisa's problem, he asked, "Things are a bit complicated," the White Queen said with an embarrassed expression on her face. "It's very difficult to do. According to what I know about the vampire family, they can't turn back. Once they fail, there will be 2, 3, until you successfully catch your sister. Then study the power of your sister's holy light. Try to figure out what light is. Understand and control the light, until you stand under the sun with integrity. This is the ideal that the vampire family will always pursue. To not be afraid of the sun and overcome their weaknesses. You don't know how crazy they will be. Even if there is only a small chance, they won't give up. It's also a coincidence. Your sister's holy light is exactly the same as the rumored power of light. It's too similar." The Black Queen knew that Tang Feng was not in the mood at this time, nor did he have the heart to joke, and said sternly, "In that case, Lisa's situation is very dangerous. Even if she stays in the Xavier Academy, under Charles' protection, it is very dangerous. It is not necessarily safe. That is a vampire family. They have survived for a long time. Each vampire has agility, speed, strength, endurance, and longevity far beyond ordinary people. Although it has weaknesses, it is afraid of sunlight, ultraviolet rays, silver weapons, and garlic. However, it is also difficult to deal with. And, not 1 or 2, a dozen or so, a vampire from an organization, but a vampire from the race, all wanting to be harmful to Lisa." Blink swallowed and looked at Tang Feng, worried about the Lisa he had never met. Although the entire vampire clan is suppressed by humans, it can only develop quietly in the dark, persisting. But the number of vampire clans scattered around the world is estimated to exceed 1 million. With so many vampires, if they were determined to catch Lisa, even with Charles' protection, they would not be 100% safe. "Big brother, is Sister Lisa in danger?" Linger also understood that she had already shown Tang Feng as a relative she had never met. She had met her younger sister, so she asked worriedly. "Well, Lisa is in danger. Vampires, Stryker, okay. Tang Feng nodded heavily, a gloomy expression on his face, clenched his fists, took a deep breath, and said decisively, "Whoever dares to harm my sister will die, even if it's a vampire family." So what? Chapter 64. Back to Xavier Academy. I'll take care of the vampire family, but I won't worry about the colonel. Even if you dig 3 feet of ground for me, you have to find it for me. Even if people can't find it temporarily, don't make it easier for him. As long as there are secret bases related to him, military bases, any base is fine, it's all good. Destroy it for me and leave nothing for him, so that he will die in pain. If you don't have the ability to destroy some bases, just tell me and I will go out myself. I would like to see how he can deal with our mutant, and how he can study various plans without even a research base. After Tang Feng said the harsh words, he arranged the task. Yes, I haven't moved for a long time, I just want to go out and play. Don't worry, you can concentrate on dealing with the vampires. Colonel Stryker, and those bases, as long as they are not large, are well protected, and have all kinds of formidable power. A military base protected by weapons, then it won't be difficult for me. The Black Queen stretched and said confidently, okay, I'll leave it to you. Tang Feng thanked her, then turned to Blink and said, in the next few days, continue to help me on my way. To deal with the vampires scattered all over the world, you have to go everywhere, or you have to borrow Blink's teleportation to make it easier to do things. No trouble, no trouble. Blink quickly waved her hand and said, White Queen, you will also act with me next. I have to borrow your mental ability to learn all kinds of information from the vampires. Tang Feng looked at the White Queen again and slowly said, no problem. The White Queen simply nodded. Okay, go prepare first. Wait for me. I have to go back to Xavier Academy first. Tang Feng said that he would leave. Before acting, he had to meet Lisa in person to feel at ease. How are you going to deal with vampires? Just find the vampires' hiding places and kill them. Before leaving, the Black Queen couldn't help but be curious and asked. Tang Feng stopped, stood in front of the spatial passage, and looked at the Black Queen. You can't kill vampires by just killing them one by one. I plan to kill a few vampires and see if I can restrain them and force them to agree. I will never dare to hurt Lisa again. If that's not the case, there is only one last solution. Completely destroy the vampire family. Tang Feng's cold words lingered, and the figure had entered the spatial passage and disappeared. Genocide. The Black Queen widened her eyes in surprise, and the White Queen was also stunned. The two women on the scene looked at each other. They knew that Tang Feng was a 4th-level mutant, very strong, and even against vampires, he still had a chance of winning. However, they never imagined what means Tang Feng would use to make vampires perish. If the vampire family was so easy to die, it would have been wiped out by humans long ago. But in fact, vampires still exist today. I can't understand it. I can't figure it out. I can't think of it. Blinking as well, she couldn't hold back her curiosity and pulled Tang Feng out of the spatial passage. After several teleportations, she arrived at the Xavier Academy and asked, what is this? What method do you use to make vampires die? In this regard, Tang Feng shook his head, unwilling to explain, but casually said, you'll find out later, I hope it won't come to that. As he walked towards the academy gate, Tang Feng cautiously exuded the realm of detection considering Lisa's current situation. As a result, he noticed 3 suspicious auras, which made him stop. His detection field is black and white, which can penetrate objects, like a god's perspective, and can see 360 degrees at the same time. Moreover, from this perspective, everyone's breath of life can be detected. In layman's terms, it is everyone's magnetic field. Ordinary people's magnetic field is very weak, like a small flame. A strong human being will emit a stronger magnetic field, like a torch, or more intense. If it is a mutant, the magnetic field will also change a little depending on the ability and strength. Just like the flickering around him, his magnetic field is not only very strong, but also affects the invisible space, like a drop of water in a calm lake, causing ripples. Linger's magnetic field is equally strong. If you feel it carefully, there will be a cold, bloodthirsty, invisible magnetic field intertwined, vaguely like a snake. When Linger turns into a snake girl, this change in the magnetic field will be more intense and obvious. Looking at the Xavier Academy again, in the exploration field, Charles' magnetic field is like a scorching sun, with a powerful spiritual power attached, which can repel all prying eyes. From a distance, Charles noticed Tang Feng's sneaky gaze. Looking back, Tang Feng, from the perspective of God, focused on the three suspicious people around him. These three people, their magnetic fields are much stronger than ordinary people, and they also have a dark and bloody aura. A vampire? Don't think too much, just judging from the breath of the three of them, Tang Feng must be a vampire. Lisa is in the Xavier Academy, and there are vampires lurking around, which shows that the vampires have not given up. Even if they know Charles' strength, they still have to find opportunities to attack. Blink. About 300 meters. Go there. Tang Feng pointed at one of the three, in the direction he was in, and said to Flicker. Although Blink was strange, seeing Tang Feng's squinting and murderous gaze, he didn't dare to ask any more questions, and immediately took Tang Feng with teleportation. Chapter 65 Declaration of War. Tang Feng personally went out and there was another detection domain to lock up the vampires. The result was not an accident and the three vampires were caught. The process is a bit troublesome and vampires have a strong recovery ability. As long as it is not the heart, the head will be pierced and destroyed. The rest of the body can quickly recover even if it is seriously injured. Therefore, even if the three vampires are not Tang Feng's opponents, relying on the resilience of their bodies, they still stubbornly resist. There was no other way. He could only focus on the key points and destroy their limbs with calamity. Without the limbs, even with the resilience of a vampire, without the replenishment of a large amount of blood, it is impossible to recover in a short time. Who sent you here? Is the target Lisa? That is what you call the saint. In a dark corner, where the sun cannot shine, Tang Feng bowed slightly, lowered his head, looked at the three insects lying on the ground in front of him, and asked in a deep voice, "Yes, our leader, Dickon Firth." "Yes, that's right, it's the rumored saint, that little girl, Lisa. We're just monitoring here, we don't want to do anything to her, spare her life, please let us go." Without their limbs, the three vampires even spoke and stared at Tang Feng, and they had to forcefully raise their heads. They had no resistance and were reduced to fish meat. Tang Feng had to decide whether to kill them or cut them up. They panicked and were afraid. Without using Tang Feng's torture to extract confessions, they immediately said all the things that should and shouldn't be said. After asking, Tang Feng probably understood the situation of the vampire clan. Although the vampire family is scattered all over the world, there are still leaders that everyone agrees with, as well as a group of elders. In the past, what vampires wanted to do was decided by the leader and elders, and then all vampires were ordered. As long as it is not too embarrassing, ordinary vampires will not resist the order to court death. The current vampire leader is Dickon Firth. There are 5 elders in the group. All of them are very old, have lived for a long time, and have great prestige. According to the 3 vampires, the leader and the elders are often at odds with each other. This is something that all vampires know. In the long history, with the exception of only a few generations of leaders, with personal charm, the group of elders has been subdued. Most of the other leaders are in conflict with the elders. It's all for power. Dickon Firth has always had conflicts and disputes with the elders, but in the matter of Lisa, it was rare to reach an agreement and make a concerted decision to arrest Lisa. Of the 3 vampires, 2 belonged to Dickon's subordinates, Firth, and 1 belonged to the elders. Tang Feng's heart sank. The matter is really too troublesome. Lisa can make the vampire leader and the elders willing to give up the fight for power and profit, and cooperate with the arrest of Lisa. From this, it can be seen that they want to get Lisa. Should you have Dickon's contact number, Firth? Tang Feng asked with his eyes narrowed. The 3 vampires nodded quickly, their faces touching the ground, and they didn't care if they were covered in dust. Tang Feng found his phone number on one of the vampires. At his notice, he quickly found the contact phone number and pressed the button to communicate. "I just picked up the phone, I was immediately connected." "Hey, is it Anthony? What's wrong? Is something wrong with that saint?" Tang Feng heard the male voice on the phone, took a deep breath, suppressed his anger, and said solemnly, "Are you Dickon Firth? I'm Tang Feng, I think you know who I am." With the power of the vampire clan, Tang Feng didn't believe it. Dick Unferth had never heard of his 4th-level mutant. Not only that, I think even Lisa is his sister, and he knows it, but he still ignores her deterrent power and starts attacking Lisa. Ha ha ha, Red Demon Tang Feng, I've been famous for a long time. What's the matter when you called me? Don't pretend to be confused. You know Lisa is my sister and you still want to attack her. Are you vampires seeking death? Tang Feng was furious and said bluntly and threateningly, if it's a normal thing, you, 4th-level mutant, our vampires will give you some face and will not provoke you. However, your sister's holy light skill is our vampires' hope to defeat the sun, so no matter what, we will never give up. I have a proposal to save everyone's anger. Send the saintess here. We vampires can promise that we will only study her power and will not harm her life. What do you say? Deacon Firth offers a solution for peaceful coexistence, which in his ruthless thinking, really is the best of both worlds. Don't make jokes. Lisa is my lovely sister. How could I give her to you and study her? Don't even think about it. In a word, do you choose to give up or continue to insist on catching Lisa? Tang Feng growled angrily. After a while of silence, a voice was finally heard from the phone. We vampires can't give up. Even if you are a 4th-level mutant, you can't let us back down. This is our hope to enjoy the sun, even if it's against you. Very firm tone. It's good. I can't let you capture Lisa, so let's go to war. Tang Feng regained his composure, and after speaking coldly, he clenched his hand tightly. The power of calamity transformed the body, and suddenly, he smashed the phone, and the calamity rolled out, turning the tattered mobile phone into powder. Immediately after, ignoring the 3 vampires' pleas, the calamity rolled towards their bodies, turning them into ashes. Tang Feng left here, with an indifferent face and murderous eyes. After entering the Xavier Academy, he regained his gentle smile. No matter what happened, he didn't want Lisa to worry. Even if the sky fell, he would take care of it. Chapter 66. Scott blinking. Tang Feng didn't go to talk to Charles and the others raw first, but first went to see Lisa based on her breathing. This is a classroom, and now it's class time. The teacher is an ordinary mutant. He doesn't teach anything, but teaches high school courses and gives biology classes. Even if you are a mutant, you have to learn knowledge. In the world, everything can fail. Even if it is a mutant ability, you may lose it one day. Only knowledge, once you have learned it, will always belong to you. No, it's not the case if the memory is erased. Tang Feng added in his heart. At the very least, it's never wrong to learn knowledge. At least when you buy things, you will count the money. He doesn't want his sister to be a stupid girl. Standing by the window and looking in, Tang Feng soon saw Lisa's figure among so many students. Seeing her serious study and confident appearance, Tang Feng felt relieved and did not rush to disturb her class. Do you need me to call her? Qin came behind Tang Feng and asked. Flicker stood beside him, looking at Qin curiously, not knowing if it was an illusion. She always felt that the woman with long red hair in front of 863 was looking at her brother with complicated eyes. Flicker stood cautiously on the side. She knew Qin and her ability, so she was afraid that Qin would invade her brain with her spiritual ability. If Tang Feng were not there, she would never have approached Xavier Academy. You know, in Blink's heart, Qin's mental ability is just a problem, and Charles' mental ability is despair. I don't know if it is too sensitive or just an illusion. She always feels that there is a pair of invisible eyes around her, watching here. The feeling of Flicker is just right. From the use of Tang Feng's detection field, Charles knew it when he looked at it, and he has been paying attention to the situation here. Therefore, Qin also knew that Tang Feng had returned and rushed to meet her. His heart was very complicated and difficult to understand. The reason for her denial was that she cared about Tang Feng, but she couldn't help but go to see him. Since what happened that night, under the vague influence of Dark Phoenix, Tang Feng's shadow and Qin's heart has become increasingly clear. Tang Feng didn't know this. After the intimate contact that night, it would be a lie to say that she has no thoughts about Qin. It's just that she already has linger, and Qin is not a reckless character like White Queen, and he doesn't have the confidence to hug her. No. I'll talk about it when I get out of class. Tang Feng chuckled and shook his head. He walked away from the window, avoiding Lisa's gaze, so as not to be seen by her and disturb her class. "Long time no see, how have you been recently?" Looking at the beautiful piano as always, even if it was sealed due to the Phoenix Force, it still exudes a mysterious atmosphere. Tang Feng said with a sigh. "It's not even a month. Is it a long time?" Qin Yan asked with a smile. Ha ha ha, it's not too long, so to speak. It's not even the time to graduate from high school. It's just that so many things have happened recently that it makes me feel like a long time has passed." Tang Feng laughed foolishly and shook his head repeatedly with excitement on his face. "Yes, I've been hearing about you since you left, and I heard from Charles the day before yesterday that you joined the Hellfire Club and became the White King." Qin stroked the red hair that was on his face. She looked at Flickering, Linger, and finally asked a question that mattered to her. Seeing the two women beside Tang Feng, they must have a good figure and appearance, and they are not much worse than her, which made her feel tight and didn't know how to feel. "That's right, her name is Blink, and she is the White Bishop of the Hellfire Club. Her name is Linger, and she is my current girlfriend, and she is also a mutant. She is with me and is a member of the Hellfire Club." Tang Feng introduced the two women, and when he mentioned Linger, his tone paused, but he did not hide it and told the truth. "Really? I didn't expect you to have a girlfriend, or a mutant companion. Congratulations." Qin's face was stunned, turned ugly, forced a smile, randomly found a reason and said, "I remembered that I have something to do, so I'll go first. Let's meet Charles." Tang Feng touched his nose, noticed that Qin seemed to be very worried, couldn't help but think, then shook his head and led the two girls away. "Charles, how have you been recently? Scott is also there, by the way. When I left, I heard that you were chasing Qin. What happened?" Tang Feng led the two girls to the office where Charles was staying, opened the door and walked in. He saw not only Charles, but also Scott. Roar still had some worries about Qin in his heart, so he couldn't help but tentatively ask Scott, "Welcome back." Charles nodded lightly, a kind smile on his face. "Have you heard that too? Alas, rejected." Scott smiled bitterly and sighed. "Don't be discouraged, man. There is a saying in the East, the reason you don't have a girlfriend is because your destiny hasn't arrived yet. So, maybe it's your girlfriend who hasn't appeared yet." Tang Feng suppressed his happiness, calmly patted Scott's shoulder on his face, and said comfortingly, "Yes." Scott muttered to himself, lost his way, and began to wonder if, as Tang Feng said, Qin was not his fate, so his search was unsuccessful. Something seems to be wrong. He instinctively felt that something was wrong. "Charles, why did Lisa suddenly leave Xavier Academy?" Tang Feng's serious questioning disturbed Scott and distracted him. He stopped thinking about what was wrong and looked at Tang Feng and Charles. According to Charles' explanation, Lisa decided to leave Xavier Academy to visit her uncle's family after receiving a call from her uncle. Afterwards, according to the investigation, Tang Feng's uncle's family, from the news, learned that Tang Feng and Lisa became mutants. Knowing that Tang Feng is already a vicious criminal arrested by the military, even if there is still family affection, he will not think of contacting Tang Feng and Lisa in a short time. I am afraid that it will affect and implicate them. Tang Feng can understand this kind of mentality and will be disappointed, but he will not hate it. Compared to those relatives and aunts who are hated and hated, the uncle's family has always treated him and Lisa very well, and they have fulfilled their uncle's responsibilities. For the sake of his family, in order not to be disturbed in his peaceful life and to be disconnected from Tang Feng and Lisa, he will really not hold any resentment. So, things are very clear. It was not the uncle's family who took the initiative to contact Lisa, but someone who pretended to lie and tricked Lisa into leaving the Xavier Academy, so that they would have a chance to start. Since it was a phone call, Lisa heard her uncle's voice and believed it was true. "No, since I took Lisa out of New York City, Lisa's mobile phone and phone number have been lost and are no longer used. When you came to see me, you gave her a new mobile phone and a new phone number 99, so even if Lisa didn't think about it, she should be wondering how my uncle's family got Lisa's new phone number 99. Tang Feng frowned and asked, "This?" Charles looked embarrassed and didn't know how to answer. This is because our Xavier College student profile is semi-public. April 7, 1935. Scott explained. Charles' ideal is that mutants and ordinary people live in peace. Under his ideal, the Xavier Academy was established, and whether it is mutant or ordinary people, they will be accepted. People all over the world know about it. In addition to teaching mutants how to use the ability proficiently, the Academy also has various courses like ordinary schools. The management also refers to general schools, which have student files. The student files, except for the specific situation of the mutant's ability, are kept confidential and will not be made public, and other unimportant information will be made public. In doing so, Charles does not want to specialize, and only like everyone else, can he integrate into society. If he is strange and too mysterious, it is impossible for everyone to accept him sincerely. Well, I have no opinion on the way your academy is managed. However, because it involves Lisa's safety, I am angry. Tang Feng spread his hands and said angrily. Chapter 67. All the fans, don't worry, I have encrypted Lisa's files, and no one will have access to them except Scott, Kin, and others. Charles looked embarrassed, confident. It's better. Before I finish solving the vampire family's problems, I hope there won't be any more accidents. Please protect Lisa. Tang Feng looked at Charles pleadingly. I will. Charles sat up straight and said seriously, how are you going to solve the vampire clan's problems? Scott asked with a worried look on his face. The vampire family is not easy to mess with, even with Charles' protection. When he wants to come, Lisa's problems will continue one after another, and it will be very troublesome. I already have a solution. Just give me 3 months and I will definitely deal with the vampire family. Tang Feng pondered for a while and said firmly, if you can, please don't kill too many innocent lives. Charles knew how terrifying it would be if he unscrupulously wielded his power as a 4th-level mutant. Hearing the killing intent in Tang Feng's words that couldn't be concealed, he sighed and coaxed. Charles, you are too soft-hearted. Vampires are not innocent at all. If they want to survive, they must suck blood. No vampire is innocent. Tang Feng shook his head speechlessly and said, you are wrong about this. Now it is the non-humans who are the vampires who live by sucking blood, and they don't dare to act recklessly. They use the hospital as a cover to collect blood and build a blood bank. They eat blood bags every day. Sir, I rarely take the initiative to go out and suck people. As the captain of the X-Men, Scott knows a lot of hidden things about vampires. He probably understands it too. He shook his head and said, hee, dogs can't stop eating shit. Vampires craving for blood is harder to stop than dogs who eat shit and addicts. In my opinion, the establishment of a blood bank is just to hide people's eyes and ears, and they are still secretly sucking people's blood and causing harm. Tang Feng sneered a few times, not believing it at all. Okay, Lisa will take care of you. At this moment, when he heard the bell ringing, Tang Feng stopped talking, said goodbye, and went to find Lisa. Big brother. In the distance, Lisa was talking to her good friend with laughter, as if she had a premonition in her heart. She raised her head and looked ahead, noticed Tang Feng coming. She immediately cried out in surprise. Lisa, long time no see, I'm back. 35. Tang Feng walked over with a smile and opened his hands. Lisa trotted over happily, leaped fiercely, and hugged Tang Feng tightly. Brother, why did you suddenly come back? I miss you so much. My brother misses you too, so I came back to see you. The two brothers and sisters hugged each other and talked, ignoring the group of people around them, looking into each other's eyes curiously. Both of them were curious and in awe of the famous Tang Feng. The good friend who was talking to Lisa just now widened her eyes, looked up and down carefully, and looked at the legendary Tang Feng curiously. The last time Tang Feng came, his reputation was not that big. Due to lack of time, he left the next day. Many students had not seen Tang Feng, and neither had she. Goodbye brother and sister again. There are definitely endless topics to talk about. This is not the place to talk. Tang Feng took Lisa out of the Xavier Academy, went to a restaurant not far from here, and talked while eating delicious food. I want to go too. To Tang Feng's surprise, the girl who talked to Lisa before was not shy at all, and shouted for him to come over. She is Lisa's good friend. Lisa didn't want to refuse her good friend's request, so she looked at Tang Feng embarrassedly. Tang Feng smiled and nodded. So, she brought a foodie? Tang Feng didn't know whether to laugh or cry, with a strange look on his face. Seeing the food on the table, he let her finish more than half of it. It was only after talking to Lisa that the chat took a little longer and I didn't pay much attention. When I came back to my senses, I noticed that she was reincarnated by a hungry ghost. Eat as soon as you eat, and keep staring at Tang Feng, looking at him as if she was going to eat him. This girl is called Katie, about 14 or 15 years old, only 2 or 3 years older than Lisa. The two girls became good friends as soon as they met, and Lisa said that thanks to Katie's help, she met many new friends so quickly and smoothly integrated into the group without being excluded. Tang Feng was not surprised. With Lisa's holy light ability, even without Katie's help, she would soon make many new friends, and few mutant compatriots rejected Lisa. Even so, she still thanked the greedy cat, shadow cat, gluttonous cat. Katie was flattered and waved her hands again and said no, and then became excited and talked about what Tang Feng had done, her tone full of admiration. You are too powerful to fight against the military. Aren't you afraid of the military arresting you? No, you are not like us. You are a 4th level mutant, as powerful as Charles, and you don't have to be afraid of the military at all. I envy you so much. You are a 4th level mutant, with powerful powers that I can't imagine. No one is afraid. I'm so curious, can you tell me, how the hell did you cause the disaster? I think about it, it's terrifying and so cool that a single wave from a distance can cause a car accident, a plane crash, and an accidental death. I heard Lisa say that she was discovered as a mutant, but fortunately, you protected her, survived many raids, and finally escorted Lisa to Xavier Academy. Shadow Cat said excitedly, looked at Tang Feng. His eyes seemed to be full of stars, seeing her immersed in fantasy. His face flushed. It must be self-imagination. Add more material. Tang Feng took Lisa, how to pass the 7 levels, cut off 5 generals, people block the killing, Buddha blocks the Buddha adventure story. Girls of this age are the easiest to imagine, and also the best to coax. The age of chasing stars, admiring handsome guys, and admiring the strong. Although she knew that Tang Feng was a red devil, he also killed many innocent people, and his hands were full of blood. However, when I think of Tang Feng as Lisa's brother, in daily life, I always hear Lisa talk about how good her brother is, how he loves her and has a good impression. Now that she has been in contact again, seeing that Tang Feng is so kind, she is determined to kill Tang Feng and is no longer afraid. Tang Feng's face was full of black lines, and he shook his head speechlessly. Shadow Cat Katie was so good at talking. She asked so many questions at once, how to answer them. He had to deal with it at will. In his heart, he was still secretly happy and triumphant, and it was good to have a girl who admired him so much. While dealing with Shadow Cat Katie's problem, Tang Feng talked to Lisa, Linger, and Blink. They also introduced themselves. For Linger, although Lisa expressed surprise, she did not object. When my brother has a girlfriend, Lisa can only wish, and she will not feel stingy that my brother was robbed. Moreover, Linger is not a bad woman, she is pure and kind, and she just gets along well with Lisa, and they quickly got to know each other. It seems that in the Xavier Academy, there are many students who are curious about me. Tang Feng noticed that around the restaurant, through the floor-to-ceiling windows, many students gathered one after another, whispering to himself, looking at him curiously. Some bold students, in the name of food, openly walked in, chose a table near him, and watched him eat. At this moment, Tang Feng seems to have become a rare animal, and people are staring. Ah, yes, I almost forgot to sign. Shadow Cat Katie knocked her head. Just after class, she still brought a pen and paper with her, and immediately took it out and put it in front of Tang Feng, looking forward to it. Tang Feng smiled and, as he wished, signed his name in English, but fortunately his words were not ugly or embarrassing. Yes, I got the autograph. 99 John, don't you admire Tang Feng? Look, I got his autograph first. Shadow Cat Katie raised her signature on the paper, showing off to a boy sitting at the next table, the boy named John. He is the Burning Man, with a face full of envy and jealousy, and finally couldn't stand Shadow Cat Katie's ostentation, so he gathered his courage and walked towards Tang Feng with a pen and paper. Tang Feng, I want an autograph too. John walked over uneasily. Compared to Shadow Cat Katie, he was not familiar with Tang Feng, and he didn't know if Tang Feng could speak well. Okay. Tang Feng shrugged. For his fans, he has always been patient and signed his name easily. Thank you, thank you. John took the autograph and said gratefully, I want it too. 35 Tang Feng, I want to sign too. Red Devil, this nickname is great. I adore what you've done. Give me an autograph. I'm your fan too and I want an autograph. 39 With John's start, next, the students came to ask for autographs one after another. In this regard, Tang Feng had no choice but to sign one by one, so helpless. If this continues, he will not be able to eat well. Chapter 68, Embark on a Journey. Sure enough, the age of adolescence is the time to chase stars. After Tang Feng signed his name, he discovered that not only the hot man John admired him, but also the good and righteous Iceman, Poppy. There is also Colossus, the cool-looking negative Sonic Warhead, and the rest of the characters who are not very clear. They are all alternative seeds for future X-Men, and the variant ability is very promising. Being eligible to become a member of the X-Men, even in the mutant, is the pride of heaven. So many people in heaven adore him and want his autograph. Tang Feng secretly laughs. Very cool. Even if there are too many signatures, it is not good, it is too troublesome. After finally dealing with all the students, Tang Feng did not dare to stay any longer, and hurriedly left with Lisa and the others, and returned to Xavier College. Brother, are you leaving? Just after carrying Lisa back to the dormitory, Tang Feng said goodbye. Lisa was reluctant, and Shadow Cat Katie, who was still following her, was also surprised. I'm sorry, my brother has something to do. I'll come back to see you when I'm done with the matter, Tang Feng said apologetically. Okay then. Lisa was sad, seeing that Tang Feng insisted on leaving and didn't want to interfere with her work. What are you doing has to do with vampires. Shadow Cat Katie tilted her head and thought for a moment, and guessed and asked based on what she had secretly heard from Kin and others using the ability to penetrate walls. Hey, how do you know? Tang Feng asked in surprise. This is something I heard from Master Kin and the others. They all said, with your character, you won't forgive a vampire. You shouldn't reveal what I heard. Shadow Cat Katie looked around and whispered as if she had done something wrong. Tang Feng was speechless. He seems to be a habitual thief, and I don't know if he has met Scott taking a shower, or has a boyfriend, girlfriend, and was doing some intimate things. I saw this by chance, and I don't know Shadow Cat Kai. Did she immediately retreat, or did she secretly admire him? Thinking, Tang Feng smiled strangely. Shadow Cat Katie felt a chill behind her, inexplicable. If she knew what Tang Feng was thinking, she would definitely shout out and refute him. She was not that kind of person. Those vampires are so abhorrent. Brother, are you trying to pester them? You know that already, Tilda. Lisa looked at Tang Feng cautiously and said in a low voice, I definitely know that. If I hadn't heard that you were attacked by vampires, I wouldn't have run back. Tang Feng rolled his eyes and moved his fingers towards his small forehead in an angry manner. I'm sorry, brother, I didn't expect those vampires to be so bad, pretending to be my uncle's voice and deceiving me. Lisa pulled Tang Feng's hand in embarrassment and acted coquettishly. Speaking of vampires, there was fear on her face. Although the process was a little surprising, Lisa was still scared. It was because she didn't listen to Tang Feng's words and went out to Xavier Academy without permission that she was attacked by vampires. She was afraid that Tang Feng would scold her and was worried about her, so she wanted to hide it. Who knows, Tang Feng knew about it a long time ago and thought that he had simply come back to see her. Lisa was depressed. Her mind realized, she thought that her brother had already learned from Charles. But she was naive enough to think that she could hide it. The matter has already happened, and it is useless to blame Lisa. Tang Feng originally planned to pretend that he didn't want to mention the vampire incident automatically. He didn't expect Shadow Katie to speak up. Brother, That's the legendary vampire. I'm fine now, so don't bother them. Lisa didn't want Tang Feng to take risks, because Charles and the others intended to hide it, and she didn't know how serious his problem was, so she naively advised him, "You don't have to worry about the vampires, it's just a small problem. With my brother's strength, they will soon be able to make them admit their mistakes and make amends to you. You also know that my brother is a 4th-level mutant, as powerful as Charles, and the vampires will give me face." Tang Feng pretended to be relaxed and said. During her stay at the Xavier Academy, Lisa finally gained a deep understanding of the mutant family and the level of mutants, and understood how rare and powerful 4th-level mutants are. So, she naively believed it, thinking that the vampire matter was a small problem. Tang Feng came to the door, the vampire gave her face and sincerely apologized, and the two parties reconciled. Only Shadow Cat Katie was hesitant and hesitated, as if things were not that simple according to what she heard. "Katie, Lisa will ask you to take care of me after I leave." Tang Feng's kind words interrupted Shadow Cat Katie's thoughts. She quickly waved her hand and said, "Vertical bar, Lisa doesn't need my care. I don't know how many people in the academy like Lisa and want to play with her." 35 Ha ha ha, then I want you to help me take care of Lisa, so that she won't be fooled by some scumbags. So she found me a boyfriend in a confusing way. Tang Feng laughed and joked, "Brother, I won't find a boyfriend so soon. Katie is about the same, she's 2 or 3 years older than me." Lisa said angrily, "What? I won't find a boyfriend so casually unless she's as good as Tang Feng." 35 Shadow Cat Kitty retorted like a cat with fried fur, jumping to her feet. "Really? But I heard you say that Poppy is pretty good." "No, I mean he's a good boy, but I don't have the idea of choosing him as a boyfriend at all." "What about John?" "It's even worse, that kid is too arrogant, and his ability is not even a tenth of Tang Feng's." "What about Colossus?" "God, he's so big, Keon can't even imagine him being a good boyfriend." Keon was really afraid that she would crush me to death, but I didn't think about it at all. Lisa and Shadow Cat Katie, right in front of Tang Feng, argued. In front of their idols, Shadow Cat Katie, even if she intends to find a boyfriend, at this moment, she will not let him go. "No, no, absolutely impossible, don't talk nonsense." Tang Feng looked at him with a smile, feeling in his heart, for the sake of his sister's peaceful life, she always wore a bright smile and could end all troubles. With this thought in mind, Tang Feng took Linger, blinked, and hurriedly left the Xavier Academy, without chatting with Kin, waiting for Oralo to return, or talking about fate with Scott. Beast has never been seen and has no idea what he is investigating, and Charles, a bald egg, has nothing to say. Tang Feng began to embark on a journey to fight against the vampire clan. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Striker's Heartache. I wish you all the best. Keen stood by the window, looking into the distance, as if watching Tang Feng leave, and silently sent her blessings, with worry and confusion on her face. Knowing that Tang Feng already has a girlfriend, she still cares about Tang Feng and can't let him go. She was at a loss. Is she a woman in love? Obviously, this is Dark Phoenix in the seal. For her, Tang Feng's strength attracts her. Her boyfriend should choose Tang Feng. Scott is too weak, so she doesn't like him. Even if Tang Feng already has a girlfriend, she doesn't care. Moreover, in the seal, Dark Phoenix can't come out even if she thinks about it. She can only reveal a trace of power and thoughts. It's useless to think about it. In this way, with Dark Phoenix's interference, Qin fell into confusion, thinking that she was a species in love and only wanted Tang Feng. Damn it, damn Hellfire Club, damn Tang Feng. In the dark room, Colonel Stryker was furious, cursing with anger, hatred and pain. It was so heartbreaking that in just a few days, All 5 research bases had disappeared. Tang Feng's actions were so fast that no one could have imagined that not only would he be able to accurately find the location of the research base as quickly as 890, but he would also be so ruthless, completely destroyed. When he reacted and anxiously asked all the research base staff to evacuate with all the materials, 5 research bases had already been destroyed. Moreover, it is not over yet. According to the report from his subordinates, although Tang Feng appeared at the Xavier Academy, it is estimated that he has to deal with the vampire family. But the Black Queen was immediately dispatched and was looking for him everywhere, looking for trouble in the remaining research base. At this moment, Colonel Stryker's face turned green, his heart was palpitating, and the pain was so severe that Roar could not breathe properly. The Black Queen's strength is also very terrifying. Although it is not as efficient as Tang Feng, as long as he finds the remaining research base, it will definitely be destroyed. Even if the personnel have been evacuated, the research base cannot escape. Each research base required a lot of effort, manpower, material and financial resources to build. After working hard for decades, only a dozen research bases have been established, and 5 of them have disappeared at a time, and more will be destroyed in the future. In addition, most of the research bases have cooperated with large groups to carry out research projects. Now the research base has been destroyed, which means that all the investment in him by those large groups has been completely lost. In this way, not only will he find a way to make up for the losses of those large groups, but also his reputation may be greatly reduced, and it will be difficult to obtain more funds from the large groups. The thought of these problems gave him a terrible headache. Colonel Stryker couldn't help but feel ashamed. He suddenly aged a few years, and the hero lamented again and again, "I didn't expect Tang Feng to join the Hellfire Club and become the White King. Damn it, this information should have been obtained earlier." Colonel Stryker regretted it very much. If he found out that Tang Feng had joined the Hellfire Club before the action against Lisa, he might be afraid and would not attack Lisa again. It's too late to say anything now. Tang Feng joined the Hellfire Club, so he no longer has the disadvantage of intelligence, and another group of subordinates have already begun to take revenge on him. Even if Tang Feng was busy dealing with vampires, there was still a Black Queen to deal with him, which simply did not give people a chance to catch their breath. Facts have proved that no matter how active and proactive Colonel Stryker is in dealing with a mutant, no matter how many times he jumps up and down, however, it is not too difficult to really want to deal with him. It is only because Colonel Stryker is a military force that people have scruples. Charles' X-Men, on the side of justice, must not be able to take action against Colonel Stryker without sufficient reason. The Brotherhood is doing things all over the world, and the enemy to deal with is not only Colonel Stryker. Magneto, Eric and the military also have a tacit understanding: if you don't mess with me, I won't mess with you. As for the Hellfire Club, take care of yourself. Before Tang Feng joined, you didn't pay any attention to Colonel Stryker. Therefore, Colonel Stryker's son, Ajit, lived a very happy life, wandering everywhere and aiming for mutant recklessly. However, his good days were over. Tang Feng wouldn't care about Colonel Stryker's military status. With strength, no matter how hard he fights against the military, only dead enemies are the best solution. He didn't have many enemies. The one he hated and wanted to kill the most was Colonel Stryker. If he didn't kill him, he would kill whoever. So Colonel Stryker is out of luck. If it weren't for the vampire clan's troubles, Tang Feng would have been targeting him. Even if he can't escape temporarily, let the Black Queen continue to take revenge for him, until he takes over the chase again and kills Colonel Stryker. The grievance between the two will not end. Because of his revenge, Colonel Stryker was very upset, annoyed and angry. If Tang Feng found out, he would be very happy. Here, as soon as he left Xavier College, Tang Feng returned to the headquarters and brought the White Queen with him. There is no shortage of information about the vampire family, and there is no shortage of information about some places where vampires are hiding. This is not enough. Tang Feng has already asked Charles to help him find the information about the vampire's hidden location, and he also specifically called Magneto Eric and asked for help. Under Tang Feng's connection, The three major forces of mutant have all taken action. With the intelligence ability of the three major forces, no matter how deep the vampires are hidden, they can be discovered one by one. Don't waste my time on these small things, small papers. Do it big. Tang Feng looked at the information in his hand. His eyes flashed fiercely, his right fist clenched tightly, and he slammed it on the table in front of him. He saw a piece of white paper on the table, with a name circled with a red pen. William Norris, Duke of Vampires, is also the fifth elder of the vampire clan. There are 5 elders in the vampire clan. Tang Feng doesn't make a move. Once he makes a move, he will destroy an elder, which has a shocking effect. Once he has decided on a candidate, he immediately acts. Led by Blink, Tang Feng, Linger, White Queen, a total of 4 people acted. The time was night, and in the quiet mountain forest, there were only insects, birds and beasts. In this mountain forest, there is also an ancient castle, and the surrounding walls are surrounded by plants and vines, exuding the atmosphere of a long history. The goal is here. In the dark night sky, dark clouds spread, and the bright moonlight shone, and I vaguely saw 4 shadows standing on the high cliff, looking towards the ancient castle hidden in the dark night. 1, 2, 3, 15, 30. There are 32 vampires in total, and one of them has a very strong aura, no weaker than the White Queen, and should be the 5th elder. In addition, there are about 130 ordinary humans in the castle, who are estimated to be the food of the vampires. These ordinary people are saved by the way, and they are lucky. After Tang Feng finished speaking, he let Blink open the space channel, and the 4 of them disappeared. The next moment, they appeared in the castle. Revenge, slaughter, is about to begin. Chapter 70. The Death of the 5th Elder. Red Devil Tang Feng. Damn it, what do you want to do? Do you want to be the enemy of my vampire clan? Even if you are a 4th level mutant, don't be too arrogant. We vampires are not afraid of you. In the darkness of the night, in the ancient castle, a gloomy old voice came from a distance, echoing in the mountains and forests, awakening a bird in the air. It's not that I'm too arrogant, it's that you guys are too arrogant. You know that Lisa is my sister, but you dare to attack her. It's obviously you. Don't take me seriously. I've already contacted Dickon Firth, but he still refuses to give up the action. In this case, don't blame me for taking revenge on you, Tang Feng said coldly, walking step by step. The White Queen, Linger, Blink followed behind him, and from time to time, he knocked down and killed the vampires who rushed over, without mercy. Along the way, blood splattered and corpses were everywhere. The 3 women of the White Queen are all 3rd level mutants, and their strength is at the top level below the 4th level. In addition to Blink's weakness, she can also freely come and go between enemy groups with teleportation, 7 in and 7 out. As long as she is careful, few people can hurt her. Without Tang Feng's action, these vampires would be completely defeated. Until, only the 5th elder was left, fighting against the beasts, struggling to survive. Have you been in contact with Dickon Firth? Wait, stop, our elders don't know anything about this. The 5th elder was startled and hurriedly explained. I don't care about your struggle for power and profit. I just want to know, even if I let you know, will you give up on catching Lisa? She's your rumored saint. Tang Feng said calmly. The 5th elder's expression froze. He hesitated, and said hesitantly, definitely, it's okay, I can give up. 35. No, you don't want to, you're lying just to survive. The White Queen intervened at the side. Even if the 5th elder's strength is not weaker than her, as a vampire, he also possesses dark power and barely has the ability to resist her spiritual invasion. However, it is still possible to tell the truth from a lie. HMPH. I didn't expect it from the beginning. 99. Tang Feng snorted, smiled coldly, turned around and left, leaving only one sentence. I'll leave it to you. Kill him quickly, don't make me wait any longer. All right, brother. Linger immediately replied. Her icy vertical pupils stared at the 5th elder, and she waved her tail vigorously, rushing towards him. Be careful of his speed. As an elder, he is not easy to deal with. The White Queen quickly recalled and rushed forward, Her diamond-shaped body had no idea of defense at all, and at the same time used her spiritual power to invade the past. Blinking is playing soy sauce on the side, harassing and through teleportation. If someone is in danger, they can also be rescued in time. In this way, the cooperation between the three women became more and more proficient, and the pressure on the fifth elder also increased, and the damage caused to him gradually increased. With Blinking's teleportation restriction, even if his speed is fast, he is destined to not be able to escape. Moreover, even though Tang Feng did not make any moves, he was always paying attention to the situation here. They are safe. Let's go. Tang Feng released the stopped ordinary people, pointed to the outside of the castle and said, ignoring the surprising questions of these ordinary people, he left after finishing speaking, and has already pointed at it. Whether to go or not depends on your own choice. In the end, ordinary people who still don't understand the situation still choose to run away. No one is an idiot. Depending on the situation, they are about to deal with the fifth elder, and there is no accidental danger, so I don't need to take action. Using the detection field, Tang Feng watched the battle there and muttered to himself. The reason why he didn't take action and let the three girls fight was because he wanted the three girls to cooperate with each other skillfully as soon as possible. Follow him to get revenge on the vampire clan and fight with vampires in the future. When these ordinary people completely fled the castle and entered the forest in the dark night in groups, they were frightened, restless, and screamed in front of several beasts. The three women also ended the battle and killed the fifth elder. Roar roar roar. Worthy of being a vampire, is too difficult to kill, but fortunately, a silver dagger has been prepared. 99 Roar sucked, wiped the sweat from his forehead, looked at the blood-stained dagger in his hand, and sighed. Linger, the White Queen, nodded deeply. Okay, kill him, get out quickly, there will be a big move next. I'm going to make a big move. Tang Feng appeared behind them, and after reminding them, he took the lead and left. What force do you want to use? Earthquake, landslide, sinkhole. The four of them have returned to the original cliff, and the third woman is standing behind Tang Feng, holding the camera with a look of anticipation, aiming at the castle below. The White Queen curiously guesses and asks. Asks for flowers. She was so curious that she kept listening to Flicker say how Tang Feng used his shocking power to destroy the research base one by one. She really regretted never seeing it with her own eyes. It's not just her. After the Black Queen, Storm and others found out, they also regret it very much. Summon a meteorite. What do you say? Tang Feng turned his head and smiled. The White Queen's expression froze. She took a deep breath, calmed her turbulent emotions, and said with a smile, okay, I'm looking forward to it. My God, it's a meteorite again. 35 Blinking swallowed and muttered to himself in a low voice. God knows that night, under Tang Feng's fury, the matter of summoning a meteorite with a wave of his hand gave her a great shock, and she was also afraid of facing the power of the meteorite. Zero Linger widened her eyes and was full of expectations. Come. After preparing for a minute or two, as Tang Feng said, her face began to pale, her body weakened and trembled for a while, and Linger supported him as expected. The three girls knew that Tang Feng summoned the meteorite to land, and there would be some cost, but it was not serious, and it would heal all after a few days of rest, so they were not worried and looked up at the sky together with Tang Feng. A meteorite is piercing the sky and falling towards the castle. If you look closely, it is a meteorite with only the size of a basketball file. Before it fell, the meteorite should not only be so small, but it just passed through the atmosphere and became smaller due to wear and tear. Even so, the power of meteorites should not be underestimated. A loud bang was heard from afar, and the birds and beasts in the mountains and forests screamed in panic and fled in embarrassment. Even in the dark night, a large cloud of dust could be seen rising from the direction of the ancient castle, and thick smoke and flames billowing into the sky. It was no accident. The castle was completely destroyed by the fall of the meteorite, and only the craters left in its place proved that the castle once existed. Tang Feng clenched his weak fist thoughtfully and used the force of the planet's impact again. He roughly calculated how much force he could use to summon a large meteorite. Come on, Was the video taken? Send it to the vampires, let them see it, and offend me. The destruction of the castle and the death of the fifth elder are just the beginning. I will continue to kill and destroy everything until they automatically beg for mercy and surrender. Tang Feng's cold and stern words dispersed the spoon in the wind. Chapter 71. I'm scared. My God, isn't that true? Satan is at the top, it's crazy. Summoning meteorites, what kind of powerful power is that? It's too terrifying. Even if our vampires have strong resistance, they will be crushed into slag under the blows of the meteorites. The red demon Tang Feng, this fourth-level mutant, is too scary. We are crazy. Why should we offend such a terrible enemy? Hee, I heard that the Holy Maiden is Tang Feng's younger sister. You said that you shouldn't offend him and give up on the Holy Maiden. Can you do it? Alas, our future will be difficult. The Daywalker has been chasing and killing our vampires everywhere, and now it has offended Tang Feng. When will the days of running away and hiding everywhere end? There were vampires roaring in anger. What are you arguing about? You don't sleep during the day. Are you all in a good mood? Don't you want to sleep anymore? 890. A black vampire woke up, opened his eyes irritably and shouted, "What are you sleeping for? Daywalker and Tang Feng will chase us and kill us. Are you not afraid? Will they kill you when you fall asleep?" 99. The most fearful thing is that a meteorite falls from the sky, and the situation is not clear until death. A vulnerable vampire. Pessimistic. Shut up, idiot. There are so many compatriots. We are not a big shot. Even if we die, it will not be our turn. There are vampires talking optimistically. It's not good. Everyone, run away. Daywalker is here. At this moment, a blood-stained vampire ran in fright, screaming, then opened a secret passage and fled first. The scene was quiet for a while, and then panicked and screamed. It was very messy. All the vampires wanted to escape from the dark passage, and they had no heart to resist. It's just that time was running out, and the Black Daywalker, who was fully armed and had a silver longsword hanging on his back, half human, half vampire, an alien who was not afraid of sunlight, drove a motorcycle into the room. The door was pushed open, and in an instant, the scorching sunlight. 99. Compared with the strength of the Black Daywalker, after Tang Feng's words, Daywalker quietly put away his phone and slipped away, completely unable to think about confrontation. Thinking that such a strong character would also want to trouble the vampire, he couldn't help but feel sympathetic and watched a 3-second silence. Red Devil Tang Feng has acted to take revenge on us. The fifth is dead. What? Are you going to give up the saint? What? Are you afraid? Third son? Fart. Don't talk nonsense. Second son? Who's afraid? I've lived so long and lived long enough. The big deal is death. Who's afraid? It's nothing to be ashamed of. To be honest, I'm afraid. I'm really afraid. I'm really afraid that Tang Feng will find me and drop a meteorite from my head. The fourth is right. It's right to be afraid, and I'm afraid too. However, the Holy Maiden is our hope to defeat the sunlight. Even if we're afraid, we can't give up. Do you think so, boss? The old man is right. No matter what happens, we cannot give up. To prevent Tang Feng from finding us, I suggest that everyone leave their respective places first, find a place that no one knows about, and hide. Second, supported, Deputy Second Elder, it's not good. There are enemies invading. Everyone can't stand it anymore. It's 3 female mutants, and the red demon Tang Feng. In several communication videos, in the Second Elder's video, this sentence appeared, and then the screen shook violently a few times, flickered a few times, and then went black completely. In the rest of the video, the fourth elder, third elder, first elder, and Deacon Firth sank in their hearts and fell silent, knowing that the second elder was far less fortunate. Afterwards, they hurriedly blessed themselves, turned off the video communication, quickly packed their bags, found a place that no one knew, and hid. Listen to what you said. Are the other elders and Deacon Firth hiding? Can you help me find them, at the cost of your life? In the blood-stained hall, Tang Feng sat on a chair with her lang's legs crossed, looking at the second elder who was kneeling at his feet. Yes, that's right. As long as you promise to let me go, I swear that I will help you find them. In order to survive, the dead Taoist friend did not die. The second elder tremblingly begged for mercy. Although I believe that you did not lie, but you have lived for a long time and have grown old. How can you leak about your own safety? I don't believe it at all. You can find their hiding place. Tang Feng shrugged, spread his hands, stood up and walked out, said, No, please believe me, I can definitely help you find them. The second elder shouted hoarsely in panic, Stop shouting, it's useless, don't try to make excuses, you don't have the confidence to find them at all. The White Queen blew her nails. Seeing that the blood on her nails had disappeared, she smiled with satisfaction and said, Then, the three women surrounded the second elder and attacked. These mice are hiding and have no idea of negotiating at all. It seems that they are going to resist to the end. 35 Tang Feng leaned against the door, looked at the sky, waited until the three girls of the White Queen killed the second elder, walked out, and said coldly, A round of hiding. They are not much worse than Colonel Stryker. They are all a group of mice that can hide. If they can't find them, will they still take revenge? The White Queen shook her head and asked, Definitely continued. Although they all hid, some important strongholds could not be escaped. Let's go and destroy them one by one to see if they can continue to hide in peace. 35 4.7 Tang Feng narrowed his eyes slightly and said mercilessly, Before leaving, continue the same. Destroy the place and record a video. The meteorite falling from the sky is very refreshing and pleasant, but the body is still weak. Tang Feng has a hunch that if he continues to borrow the power of natural disasters without waiting for it to recover, it will damage the source of the soul. Therefore, he did not borrow the power of natural disasters. Because the second elder's castle was built by the sea and on the cliff, it caused the mountain to collapse, causing the entire castle to fall into the sea. Another ancient castle with a long history has disappeared forever. I heard that Tang Feng has been chasing you everywhere recently, destroying your important strongholds and killing people. You must be thinking of taking revenge and returning. I have a question. How about the cooperation? Colonel Stryker also didn't know what method he used. He contacted Deacon first, spoke of cooperation as soon as he opened his mouth. Chapter 72 Attack of the 10,000 Vampires. It's impossible to cooperate with your army. I can't trust you. Who knows if you will take this opportunity to join forces with Tang Feng to destroy us? Deacon said. Firth coldly hung up the phone and immediately headed to the hideout. Regardless of whether there is a phone signal or not, he finds the hideout and leaves the place just in case. Just your vampire clan won't be able to deal with Tang Feng's revenge. You will eventually find me to cooperate. 99 Colonel Stryker sneered and said categorically. Then, he also moved his hiding place. There was no way. The Black Queen was still looking for him, and at the same time, she was also looking for other research bases, all of which were destroyed. His heart hurts. The research base is about to disappear. Without the research base, how to research mutants, how to develop various projects, and how to deal with mutants. Moreover, because the research base was gone, the investment was completely lost, and Colonel Stryker had no way to compensate, so the big group that had always supported him, or the rest of the forces, treated him with cold eyes and no longer chose to support him. In other words, his backstage and power were gone, and he almost became a loner. And he no longer had the power he had before. If it weren't for the fact that he still had some O9 connections, perhaps he would have turned back. He hated Tang Feng. He had actually contacted the president, but he did not reply. The rest of the military generals were also silent, as if they were deaf and dumb, allowing him to take revenge on Tang Feng. Another communication request from Colonel Stryker, just say that I'm not available. 35 The president rubbed his eyebrows with his hand, and without thinking, he waved to the female assistant. On the table, there are pictures related to Tang Feng, whether clear or blurry. All the photos are related to Tang Feng's use of ability. There are meteorites falling from the sky, landslides and fissures in the ground, and tsunamis crushing the island. The corners of the president's mouth twitched, and he sighed helplessly, joking. It was Colonel Stryker who willingly caused trouble and made Tang Feng angry, leading to these revenges, and he went to help when he was crazy. He didn't want that one day, the meteorite would fall on him. As the president thought, the other generals were reluctant to provoke Tang Feng for Colonel Stryker. Therefore, Colonel Stryker, in desperation, found a vampire who suffered from the same disease and sought cooperation. Colonel Stryker believed, "No. You promise me, I have some evidence here to team you up against mutant. If Tang Feng catches me, I will say that you are involved in the plan to deal with him." Colonel Stryker stepped a little closer to the screen, threatening, "You are crazy. Even if I deal with you, mutant, but not Tang Feng, even if you frame me, Tang Feng will not believe you. You better be rational and confident, otherwise, before Tang Feng finds you, you might die first." "General Ross is not a good person either," he replied harshly and threatened to return. "You also know my current situation. If you don't kill Tang Feng first, he will kill me one day, so don't try to threaten me. I don't care that much anymore. To tell you the truth, I really have evidence that you dealt with Tang Feng. Have you forgotten? When I caused the society's comments and condemnation of Tang Feng, you stood up and supported me, and you also supported me with some new weapons, just to make it easier for me to arrest Tang Feng." Colonel Stryker said with a sneer, holding the list in his hand, which were all the names of the weapons, and the signer was General Ross. General Ross's expression froze. It really happened. In order to develop a perfect Superman serum and create Superman soldiers, after hearing about Tang Feng, a new fourth-level mutant, he was moved and wanted to obtain Tang Feng's blood samples to study. Until I heard about Tang Feng's revenge on Colonel Stryker, it was another meteorite and another tsunami, or a crater, a landslide, or a sinking island. In the face of Tang Feng's crazy way of revenge, he was afraid and no longer dared to think about Tang Feng. As the saying goes, don't be afraid of your strength, but be afraid of a lunatic with strength. Therefore, in this world, good people have hardships, and only bad people can live happily. I can give you the newly developed serum, but I want you to promise me that you must completely destroy the list in your hand. Also, I have to make sure not to leak the Superman serum that I obtained from me." General Ross was silent for a while with an ugly face, and finally reluctantly agreed. "The Superman serum is not perfect and only needs an experimental body." "Yes." Colonel Stryker smiled triumphantly, and another deal was made. Colonel Stryker was preparing, and the vampires had begun to counterattack. "Time. It's the setting sun, and the dark curtain descends. Don't be afraid. Even if Tang Feng can summon a meteorite, think about it, the falling meteorite will not only kill us, but also kill him at the same time, so some large-scale disasters will easily affect his ability, and he will not be used. We gathered nearly 10,000 vampires and killed him at close range. No matter how strong Tang Feng is, we can definitely kill him." "Yes, Earl Lime is right, we have so many vampires, there is no need to be afraid of Tang Feng." 99 Oh, yes, that's right. Kill, kill, kill. This is a small town and an important gathering point for vampires. In order to deal with Tang Feng, under the order of Deacon Firth, nearly 10,000 vampires gathered one after another. As time passed, more vampires arrived one after another. It seems that the leader is not there, and none of the elders have come. A vampire was disturbed and asked in doubt. 890 We have so many vampires, it doesn't matter if the leader and the elders are not there. There are loyal subordinates who immediately explained it, and also stopped everyone's suspicions. "Come here." Tang Feng appeared. "Everyone is ready." With a loud shout, the scene was silent for a while, and then there was a commotion. No matter how good they were before, when things came to an end, thinking about Tang Feng's terror still made them frightened and uneasy. "Where?" The leader of the operation, Earl Lime, asked in a deep voice. "In the west, 500 meters away," etc. They entered the spatial passage again. Maybe they came. The vampire subordinates flexibly used the drone to observe Tang Feng's movements and reminded him loudly. As soon as the voice fell, the vampire noticed that on the roof of a building, Tang Feng was looking down with the three girls. "Everyone give me." "Tang Feng, don't you want to take revenge on us? Then don't want to retreat. If you dare to retreat, All the vampires in our place will attack the saint. Earl Lime took the lead and rushed towards Tang Feng's house, as if flying over the eaves and walls, very agile and fast. While running, he opened his mouth and shouted menacingly, "Oh, kill, kill, kill. Don't run away if you have the guts. Running is cowardice." Nearly 10,000 vampires, screaming in a mess, deafening, teleported to the distant sky, and the scene of running together is very shocking. Chapter 73, 1 to 110,000. What should we do? There are so many vampires. Should we retreat for a while? On the roof, Flicker was frightened, his face turned pale, and he suggested to Tang Feng in fear, "I won't retreat. They dare to threaten me with Lisa, courting death." Tang Feng gritted his teeth tightly, squeezed out the cold words from his teeth, set foot on the edge of the roof, lowered his body, looked down, and looked in all directions. When there are tens of thousands of people, there will be a sea of people. There were nearly 10,000 vampires gathered in this small town, and the scene was very shocking. Even in the dark night, one could vaguely see at a glance, no matter which direction one went, there were dense vampires rushing towards it. It seems that there are many ghosts, like 100 ghosts walking at night. They ran through the streets, jumped through buildings, and leaped nimbly into complex alleys, all staring at Tang Feng with red eyes and bloodthirsty expressions. Now Tang Feng has a feeling that the roof of the building he is on is the guarded city wall, and those vampires are the soldiers who attacked the city. They gather sand into towers and line up in teams, and no matter how high the city walls are, they will eventually rush in screaming. Facing this kind of scene, let alone flickering and terrifying, the White Queen's face also changed. Linger also approached Tang Feng nervously, her small hands tightly grasping the corner of his clothes. Tang Feng was no exception. Even though he was confident in his own strength, facing so many vampires at once, he shuddered and hesitated in an instant. However, vampires should never threaten Lisa and force him to stay and fight. Tang Feng had no other choice and would rather face the 10,000 vampires, destroy them one by one and get this matter over with. I also don't want Lisa to be in danger and face the vampires' attack. You retreat first, I stay, and one person can destroy them all. Tang Feng turned to the three girls and said firmly, "What, are you staying alone to fight the enemy? How can this be? There are so many vampires. Even if you are very strong, you will be exhausted to death." Flicker startled Roar and said anxiously, "Not necessarily, there are a lot of vampires, and our White King is also very strong. It depends on the means he uses to fight the enemy. Except for Tang Feng, we have no way to fight so many vampires, so we still listen to his words and retreat first. We don't need to stay away. Just stay outside the city and watch. If Tang Feng is in danger or needs support, with your teleportation ability, you can help at any time." The White Queen nodded in agreement. Seeing Flicker, Linger was very worried and analyzed. "The White Queen is right. It is the best choice for you to stay on the outskirts of the city and come to support me at any time." 35 I have already thought of ways to deal with the vampires, and at a critical moment, I need to make you shine and use teleportation to evacuate in time. If you see a meteorite falling, use teleportation to take me away immediately. Tang Feng sneered, with a confident expression. His eyes were murderous, and he said to Flickering, "No problem." With a strong nod from Flickering, he said very solemnly, "Brother." Tilda Linger was worried and hesitated. After so many days of amnesia, she has learned a lot and understood many things with the ability to understand them in a little. Therefore, although he was worried about Tang Feng and wanted to stay with him to fight the enemy, he also knew that doing so would only slow him down and make him worry. "Don't worry, I'll be fine, honey. Evacuate with Blink first." "Come on." Tang Feng first comforted Linger softly, and then noticed that at the edge of the building, vampires had already climbed up the pipes, up the balcony, up the stairs, or directly with sharp claws. Tang Feng's face was sharp. He pushed Linger towards the flickering force and shouted loudly, "Brother, you must be careful." Linger was worried and shouted, struggling slightly, letting Flicker push her into the spatial passage. "My White King, let me admire your majestic killing." Hee, I'm looking forward to it." The White Queen's eyes were hot and her face flushed red. and only a man as strong and brave as Tang Feng could attract her. Be careful. After blinking gently, she closed the spatial channel. The three girls disappeared. Immediately afterwards, vampires rushed towards Tang Feng fiercely from all directions. "Dirty vampire, don't try to touch me, kill me, die!" Tang Feng roared loudly. The calamity was no longer suppressed, let alone controlled, so the calamity broke out. Pong! The dull and bright red calamity, like a flaming flame, attached itself to Tang Feng's body, and the flame soared up to 3 feet, dispelling the night and shining brightly, as if to burn everything. The power of disaster, as a kind of energy that destroys everything, is almost the same as the legendary fighting chi and aura. In this way, as long as the calamity is not exhausted, no matter how many vampires there are as many as they kill. The problem is that his calamity is endless. As long as there are disasters in the world, he can draw the calamity from the disaster, and he is really not afraid of running out of it. Help me. Help. Vampires are like moths fighting fire. As long as they touch the calamity, they will be instantly annihilated. No matter how strong the resilience is, it is completely useless in the face of the destructive force of the disaster. Their dark power can also resist the erosion of the catastrophic force, but unfortunately, the original dark power is not enough and not strong enough. Just let them live a few more seconds. And, before they die, make them endure the fear of death for a few more seconds. Tang Feng felt his blood boil and was full of pride. Sure enough, killing up close is a man's romance. Damn it, don't be afraid, let's go together. Their strength cannot be infinite, there will always be a time when it will be exhausted. On the top of the building, Tang Feng stood in the center, surrounded by vampires rushing towards them, and then disappeared. After a while, more than 100 vampires died. Although compared to the number of 10,000, it was not worth mentioning. However, vampires are not hopeless, they are afraid of death. After the initial rush, they gradually regained their calm. Facing Tang Feng's calamity-like performance, they shuddered and did not want to approach. As a result, Earl Lime, who had just rushed to the top of the building, saw the vampires cowering, not daring to approach Tang Feng's cowardly appearance, and shouted in anger. Even so, the vampires looked at each other, very hesitant. Who knew when Tang Feng would run out of power? They all thought, let other companions first consume Tang Feng's power. A bunch of cowards. If they don't come, I'll go for Keons. Tang Feng snorted in disdain, forcefully threw himself to his feet and rushed towards Earl Lime. All the vampires that could not be avoided along the way turned into powder. Tang Feng is like an unbridled tank, crushing everything in front of him. In the end, he rushed in front of Earl Lime and stretched out a hand, as if touching tofu, easily penetrating his heart. Tang Feng retracted the hand that was wrapping the calamity, and without looking at the dying Earl Lime, he turned around, wanting to shoot at the other vampires. Cough, cough, don't be too complacent. No matter how strong you are, you will eventually be surrounded to death by 10,000 compatriots, exhausted, and I will wait for you in the underworld first. Dark magic, vampire's revenge. My compatriots, go crazy. The dying Earl Lime, with his last breath, used the means that Dickon Firth and the Elder specially prepared for Tang Feng. Chapter 74. The disaster that devastated the entire city. Through a special device, a large amount of dark power is collected, and a large amount of blood collected in advance is used together with the dark magic that Earl Lime uses with his life before he dies. This is what Deacon Firth and the Elders prepared to deal with Tang Feng. In an instant, a deep crimson dark force emerged from Earl Lime, turning his body into black ashes on the spot. Immediately afterwards, the men who had already prepared hurriedly broke the special device, and there were bags of blood wrapped around and thrown into the dark power. With the breaking of the special device, a large amount of dark power merged with Earl Lime's dark power, and the blood merged together, and the dark magic he unleashed increased tenfold. I saw the rapid expansion of the powerful dark power, like a huge screen covering the night sky, black blood mixed with bright red, giving people an evil and sinister atmosphere. The huge dark curtain enveloped Tang Feng and all the vampires in the city. The invisible dark invasion began to invade all the vampires. Only Tang Feng resisted his calamity. The fierce roars of the vampires came and screamed in the sky, the blood-sucking fangs were exposed, the pupils were red and bloody, and their emotions became violent, and there was no fear anymore. Turning his head sharply, he cast bloodthirsty eyes on Tang Feng, as if he were a beast that had lost its mind. All the vampires, at this moment, have only one thought, which is to tear Tang Feng apart, suck all the blood, and never die. Tang Feng only has one thought now, that is, fortunately, he asked Linger and the three daughters to evacuate first, otherwise, they would be invaded by dark forces, and there would be no bad changes. Just after thinking about it, Tang Feng looked up and saw that all the bloodthirsty vampires rushed over, as if being crushed to death by the number of people. Forward. What if I'm not afraid? What if I rush in? The ants are still ants and can't kill the elephant. Tang Feng roared wildly, clasped his hands together, and then waved hard on both sides, and the calamity was violently released, surrounding him, forming a huge wave of flames, which rolled violently. All the vampires, or balconies and roofs that were in front of the disaster, were destroyed, and the range of dozens of meters instantly became empty and clean. Hoo. Even in such a shocking and astonishing scene, the irrational vampires did not retreat. They still roared loudly and continued to frantically attack Tang Feng. Kill one of me, and there are thousands of me behind. Tang Feng looked at the vampires who kept rushing towards him and thought of this idea in his mind. If it weren't for Yuan's strength, constant, perhaps he would have been a coward and retreated first. Thinking of this, as he continued to destroy the vampires, he frowned and looked up at the gigantic dark screen looming above the night sky. He didn't know if the blink teleporter could break through the gigantic dark screen and enter, before the meteorite fell, in time, evacuate it. If it couldn't, he had to take a risk and he had backup plans. Tang Feng thought, suppressed his distracting thoughts, and focused on eliminating the vampires first. There are too many vampires, and they are scattered. We have to wait until all the vampires are gathered. Blink, how's it going? Can you teleport? On the high slope outside the city, Linger's three daughters were staying here, and they were also shocked to notice the huge dark curtain covering the city. The White Queen hurriedly spoke from the side. Linger clasped her hands together, clenched, worried, and looked at Blink expectantly. Blinking and sweating, she kept scratching and pulling with her hands, only to see that the spatial channel that could be easily formed in normal times has become very unstable, gathering and dispersing from time to time, like a twisted mass. No, it is estimated that the energy of the dark giant screen has affected the space. I can't block the space inside and can't open the spatial channel. Blinking and tired, panting, blushing, sweating, and dejected. What should I do then? My brother is still inside. Sister Blink, please try again. Linger cried out in fear, begging Blink. Linger, don't do this. I want to open the spatial channel too, but now I can't open it in any way. 35 Twinkle pursed her lips tightly, scolding herself for being useless. Don't worry too much. With Tang Feng's strength, no matter what tricks and conspiracies the vampire has, it won't harm him for a while. We can't be fooled by ourselves now. We have to believe that he can handle it. 35 According to my judgment, that dark giant screen won't exist forever. It also needs energy to maintain its form, and I can feel that the dark energy is gradually being consumed. When the consumption reaches a certain level, or it disappears, it shouldn't be able to interfere with blinking and open the spatial channel. The White Queen comforted the two women and calmly analyzed. Hey, yes, that's true. Blinking heard it and quickly tried to open the spatial channel, although she still couldn't open it. She carefully experimented this time and found that the spatial interference that was biased towards the small town was weakening a little, and she was very pleased. Linger was very excited when she heard it. With the analysis of the White Queen and the blinking verification, he finally stopped worrying and barely suppressed his worries. He has always had confidence in Tang Feng and firmly believes that no matter how difficult it is, it will not be difficult for Tang Feng. It's just that worrying about him is always inevitable. Hey, what are you doing? Tickling me? Tang Feng exerted a huge amount of calamity with one hand and wiped out the vampires who gathered in front of him. Then he felt the surprise behind him and hurriedly turned his head. He saw that the sneak-attacking vampire was gradually destroyed from the claws to the arms under the passive protection of the calamity. Tang Feng's ridicule. This vampire did not care, nor did he care that the calamity was eroding from his arm. He roared wildly, opened his mouth of fangs and bit at Tang Feng. Disgusting, don't you know you have bad breath? Get away from me. 35 Tang Feng moved forward in disgust, and the calamity rolled down his body, destroying him instantly. Then, he felt a few vampires rushing towards him from behind. If it weren't for the passive guard with catastrophic power to block the attack in time, perhaps he would have been injured long ago. There's no way. There are too many vampires and he's not a combat expert. How can he defend against all the attacks? The vampires have almost gathered, but there are still too many. In order to completely destroy them, we should first try to consume their number. Tang Feng thought to himself, looking at the surrounding buildings and the building he was staying in. He made a decision. The first floor of the disaster collapsed. The thin sound of kaka continued to sound. Even the irrational vampire felt the great danger and couldn't help but look down. In his red eyes, he saw the building beneath his feet. It seemed like many years had passed, and it had become a dangerous building, and the walls began to crack. Broken. Boom. The building collapsed. Not one, two buildings, but all the buildings in the city collapsed. The originally sturdy buildings, like fragile building blocks, all collapsed under Tang Feng's power. Tang Feng, as well as a large number of vampires, followed the collapse of the building and fell together. Chapter 75 almost cancelled. The building collapsed. It was extremely terrifying. At least most of the vampires who fell from the stairs were crushed to death. Those vampires who did not climb the building were also affected by the impact under a building, and many were not saved and were crushed to death by the entire collapsed building. For a time, only the building collapsed in the entire city, and there was a constant rumbling sound, mixed with the instinctive howls of some vampires before they died. When a few minutes passed, all the movement finally disappeared and all the light disappeared. Only the moon hanging high in the sky shone a little. The city fell into a deathly silence, a terrifying silence. Buildings were collapsing and falling everywhere. Broken walls, steel bars, covered the ground, blood everywhere, and the corpses of vampires fell to the ground. This kind of scene is even more terrifying. At this moment, a broken wall was swept away by the calamity, and Tang Feng walked out of it. He was also buried under it just now. With the protection of the calamity, he finally emerged unscathed. Well done. Tang Feng stood on the gravel pile, with one hand on his hips, and looked around. Although he saw vampires one after another, he stood up again, compared the number of 10,000, and calculated that only half of the vampires survived at most. He couldn't help but praise himself. Facts have proved that as long as he is not stronger than him, even if there are many enemies and a sea of people, he will not be able to help him after all. You're right if you don't run away. I'm really afraid that you'll regain your sanity and be afraid to escape. Seeing the surviving vampire, Tang Feng still yelled at him, rushed over, squeezed out a smile, looked at the dark and thin giant curtain that was about to disappear completely, and felt grateful for it. If it weren't for the dark giant screen, it still maintained magic power, making the vampire lose his senses and be in a state of rage, not afraid of death. Otherwise, the surviving vampires must be afraid to run away. Nonsense. The building collapsed and half of the vampires died at once, and there was nothing Tang Feng could do. Facing this kind of enemy, he was so desperate, who was not afraid, who would continue to die. Unfortunately, because of the magic power of the dark giant screen, the remaining vampires lost their last hope of escape. Come, your doomsday. Tang Feng ignored the vampire who was about to rush in front of him, but raised his head. He looked up at the sky, spread his open hands and shouted, boom. I saw the faint dark giant screen, like a thin girl who was infested by a fierce man, without any resistance, shattered and disappeared. A meteorite with fire, cut through the night and fell fiercely. The target, the direction, is the center of the city. In front of Tang Feng, within a range of 20 to 30 meters. With the disappearance of the dark giant screen, the magic power finally disappeared, and the surviving vampires finally regained their senses. Everyone stopped for a moment, and their violent eyes regained their clarity. First, they looked around in a circle. When they saw Tang Feng, their pupils shrank and retreated in fear. What they did when they lost their minds, or a vague impression. Then they noticed the dangerous aura of death passing from the top of their heads. Their faces were stunned. They raised their heads and were shocked and almost scared to death. A meteorite is falling from the top of the head. Who is not afraid? Who is not desperate? Run! The vampires only had time to make this reaction before they turned around, and the meteorite had already fallen. No one can escape, not even Tang Feng. However, Tang Feng had already prepared himself in his heart, and facing the meteorite he summoned. His face was not calm, seeing that the flicker had not appeared until now, and he did not dare to delay any longer. He crouched down, his feet exerted force, the calamity rose violently, and he was about to fly diagonally upwards. His backup plan was like this: as long as he flew high in the sky, he could avoid the frontal impact of the falling meteorite. You don't have to bear the force of the meteorite crash head-on, just face some aftermath. With the protection of the force of the disaster, you can still have the confidence to survive, and at most suffer a small injury. Tang Feng, get in! Just as Tang Feng had already left the ground and ascended into the sky, a loud shout came from the side. He seemed to be shocked, turning his head quickly, only seeing the flashes appearing through the spatial passage. His face was anxious and terrified. He waved his hand. Too late to explain? Get in the car. In an instant, Tang Feng's mind was filled with strange and untimely thoughts. The force of disaster hurriedly turned the direction and violently spread upwards. With an impulse, he tried his best to twist his body, adjust the direction, and rush towards the direction of the flash. Finally, after wasting a bit of time, Tang Feng rushed towards the spatial channel as he wished. Without slowing down, he hugged and flashed, and continued to leap towards the spatial channel. Stupid girl, the meteorite is about to fall. What are you doing here? The spatial channel closed, and the resounding sound of Tang Feng's exasperation came out, followed by the meteorite falling to the ground and the violent waves that came, bringing destruction, and there was a loud noise that shook the sky and the earth. The entire city was completely destroyed under the impact of the meteorite. All the vampires were annihilated, and not a single one escaped. 0# On the other side of the spatial passage, on the high slope outside the city, the White Queen, Linger, was waiting anxiously and worriedly, and then saw Tang Feng holding the flickering, jumped out of the spatial passage, and rolled a few times on the ground. Lock up! Roar! 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 Stupid girl! You almost killed yourself. Tang Feng gasped and was so scared that he yelled at Flickering angrily. The original good escape plan, under the impact of the meteorite, surprisingly survived, fell from the sky, and the hero returned. Unexpectedly, Flickering ruined the situation. He almost didn't react and couldn't escape. I know. Can you get up first? Flickering like a wayward daughter-in-law. Her face was red, her eyes dodged, and she whispered. Tang Feng was startled, as if he had caught something with one hand. He grabbed it involuntarily. Immediately afterwards, he reacted, embarrassed, and hurriedly got up with a dry smile. Flashing after Tang Feng got up, he was finally able to stand up. His face was flushed, he was at a loss, and how to place his hands and feet felt wrong. Brother, are you okay? Linger walked up to Tang Feng and asked with concern. Tang Feng simply didn't know how to deal with Flickering. With Linger's words, he was relieved, pretending that nothing had happened, and replied, "It's okay, look, I don't have anything at all." He turned his body and let Linger look at him. Although he was covered in dust, he was fine. Brother, it's okay. Linger watched intently, finally relieved, a smile on her pretty face. I said, Tang Feng, you're too bold. Even if you call out the meteorite, you can't just let it fall on your head before a flicker appears. Do you really think you're the regenerative healing factor? Because of that giant dark screen, Flicker's teleportation has never been able to get close to the city, but fortunately, It disappeared with it and brought you out at a critical moment, otherwise we'll see how you end up. The White Queen said with lingering fears aside. As for the accident of Tang Feng's intimate contact with Flicker just now, she saw it in her eyes, but she was not in the mood to mock it for the time being. I'm sorry to make you worry, but I won't waste my time. Even if Blink doesn't come to pick me up, I still have a way to escape. I actually planned to fly back, but when Blink appeared in time, I wouldn't fly back. Ha ha ha. My graceful flying posture, the beautiful scene of the hero's return, was gone. Tang Feng pretended to be relaxed and said with a smile, "End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like." Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.